Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to the party. It's Christmas. It's Christmas in July. Um, and wow, one thing I've learned. One thing I've learned is I think next year we have to start the show at 9 a.m. and
Yeah,
we should just end at noon. Basically we should just end it at 12:15 because that's what it feels like. We're going to do anyway. So much happening, so much going down.
Well, okay.
Let's go. You might want to start with something, Mike, for us. I mean, before we get into it.
Just leave. I mean, we will get to the stuff that is rumored, but hasn't been 100% confirmed. But I want to go around the horn here and just talk about the things that happened last night, late and early this morning that we know about.
Yeah.
The first one being the Tyler Johnson trade to Chicago, and Jan, we'll start with you. Julian Brisebois does what he did last year. Remember, he picks up Gaborik from Ottawa, basically as an LTIR get, and that gives him some flexibility. And this year, he gets Seabrook, who's retired, and that's almost $7 million in LTIR, so they can go above the cap. So in a way, they gained $12 million, almost $12 million in cap space by this move. So. Yeah, and they gave up a second-round pick for it.
Yeah, now there's a rumor coming out right now, actually something that is a pretty big one, and that is that New Jersey and Hamilton are going to get done.
Okay.
And that's the 7 years, north of $60 million. So it's between, I had written last night, it was going to be somewhere between 9 and 10 per year.
Well,
where it is.
Just on this, and then I want to get back to Jan and what I just asked him about.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, I know.
That's probably one of the biggest free agents out there today. So
things are going to be breaking, but no, just this. Sarah Siv tweeted earlier this morning that Dougie Hamilton was offered an 8-year deal by Carolina.
Yep.
At I think it was for 60. It was 50. It was 6.2 cap hit. How many indications do we need of how much of a tightwad Thomas Dundon is? Because honestly, this guy was top 5 in the Norris this year, top 6, something like that.
Yep.
Jan, go to you first on this one. But I mean, I think this is a good signing for New Jersey, but Carolina really didn't do anything for Dougie Hamilton.
Well, I mean, first of all, Jersey has to hope that the dollars that he's getting will work out a lot better than the contract that PK Subban has, because clearly that's another big name, big price defenseman they brought in that hasn't panned out there necessarily. But Hamilton, as you said, other than the injury a couple of years ago, he would have probably potentially won the Norris. We know how good he is. I think the issues of him bouncing around in years past have kind of been ended. All the narrative that surrounded him for a while, I think, has dissipated to a certain extent now that he's been in Carolina. I mean, Jersey is clearly making steps to improve that team. We saw last year. I mean, ever since Fitzgerald has taken over, there's been a little bit. It's been a solid front office. I mean, it hurts Carolina, no question. I mean, they brought in D'Angelo, which is one way they're attempting to remediate that, and it'll probably help on offense. Also, they picked up Ethan Bear from Edmonton. It's another route, and for Warren Fogle, that's another way they're improving their defense. But clearly, it hurts Carolina as a whole, and then opting for them to keep Brady Shea and not exposing him to the expansion draft is interesting, because clearly they must view him as taking another role forward for them in terms of moving forward. But for Jersey, gives him a power play captain, gives him a true number 1 defenseman, and they start to build around him, though they do have lots of other pieces that they need on that team.
They have lots of good young defensemen in that system on New Jersey. I mean, that's the one thing they have. They really are stacked with good young defensemen.
Yeah, but just what Edmonton should do is trade a defenseman. My goodness, they signed Tyson Berry 3 years, $4.5 million. So now they need somebody to play defense.
Yep. No, exactly. Now Edmonton is something I want to talk about, because the goalie carousel is, which someone described as its own little. It's like the B plot of the day. If there's a movie, there's a B plot. It would be the goalie carousel, which we're seeing right now. Clearly.
It's a costly carousel act because Halak basically went for $3 million. It was 1.5 in salary, 1.5 in bonuses. I would suspect that the bonuses will not be difficult to match.
Right.
But, the Leafs, I mean, I have to see what some of the other contracts out there are going to end up, because I'm a little skeptical at spending 3.8 on Mrazek for 3 years.
Yeah.
But if that means, Freddie Anderson's getting 5, and that's what I want to see what the other goalies get out there.
Yeah. Wenberg is signing with Seattle. That's something that just is being announced. Well, that's something that we broke last night, actually, on the website for what it's worth. Hockey Buzz, we had that one last night before anyone else. He is going to be going to Seattle. Wenberg, kind of a little surprised that they didn't keep him in Florida to a degree. I thought he was really good for them, but they obviously with Reinhart, they don't have the cap space to do it. We're joined by Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's like Christmas Day. Free agent signing day.
Yeah, Kevin, since you have so much experience observing Peter Mrazek from his days in Detroit, what are your thoughts on that signing 3 years with the Leafs at $3.8 million to split time with Jack Campbell?
Well, he was a very difficult goalie for the Red Wings to handle when he was young. He was a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, which goes hand in hand with sometimes with being a goalie. But it started to impact his relationships with his coaches and with his teammates. He's overcome that. He's much more mature. The Hurricanes actually liked him, even though he was not a premium goalie. He was very consistent in terms of giving them an opportunity to win. They didn't need him to win games as much as they needed him not to lose games.
Right.
And they felt that he was effective in that regard.
Yeah.
They were a little disappointed when he said to them that he was going to go out and look during the free agent market. They were hoping to sort of keep him around in a 1A, 1B situation. So, he's spectacular at times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this signing, but his top end, he always has played really well. I mean, we've seen him in the playoffs, with Carolina, win games for them. But I also have seen some of Anthony. You've seen the bad of Mrazek when he was in Philadelphia. He was not good at times.
No, he struggled. I mean, when he came to Philadelphia, he had short spurts here where he showed some of the things that Kevin would have mentioned, but it was a struggle for him here to try to sort of adapt. And when he came to Philadelphia from Detroit, and it just did not work out for him. And I think there was a lot of conflict there. Things weren't quite working.
Elliott Friedman's reporting Evgeny Dadonov.
Can I talk about this for a second?
To Vegas, yeah.
This is a horrible move by the Vegas Golden Knights. We will when things slow down. We will get into what happened yesterday with Marc-Andre Fleury. But if they move, whatever they get for the cap space that they move out of Fleury has to be something worthwhile, and this is not it.
Well,
I don't think this would be the move here.
No,
I think
they're getting the no.
This is not the move here.
Let's wait to see if Ottawa's retaining salary on this.
They better be, because otherwise, this is this is like what, 3.5?
No, 5.
No, it's $3.3 million difference. He's at 5 and Holden's at $1.7 million. It's a $3.3 million difference.
Okay, I didn't.
And Holden only has 1 year, and Dadonov has 2 years left.
Right. I didn't see the Holden part. I just saw the Dadonov.
Yeah, it's for Holden.
He was
and
very, very weak in Ottawa.
What kind of
year.
pick?
Draft pick in 2022. Didn't state what round yet.
Oh my gosh, he was not good.
Yeah, Vegas is just they're rolling the dice, man. They really are.
He was not. I mean, Florida didn't even try to keep him. Remember, he signed in Ottawa.
Okay.
What, didn't do anything in Ottawa?
Pierre LeBrun just reported that Antti Ranta signed a 2-year deal with Carolina for $2 million. Okay.
Yeah, $1 million.
No.
I don't think it's an AAV. I don't think it's an AAV. I think it's $1 million.
$2 million AAV for 2 years. But in comparing that to Mrazek, I know that Ranta cannot stay healthy and has never been able to stay healthy. But when he is healthy, I think he could be as good a goaltender as Mrazek. And
yeah, if he's healthy, but Mike, he hasn't been healthy in 3 years.
Yeah,
their best goalie they traded before at the draft, so we know that already.
I mean, I have a better question: who's running the Carolina power play?
Tony, your buddy Tony DeAngelo.
Tony DeAngelo.
DeAngelo, right? Yeah, that's where that's going, right?
So they probably aren't re-signing Hamilton, even though Don Waddell thought they were close.
He's going to Jersey, supposedly, Russ.
Going to Jersey, Russ, yeah.
So I don't know how they got from close to that, but that happened. And then they got rid of Jake Bean, another guy who could run the power play, and now they're going to hope DeAngelo will just put all of this stuff
You got
aside.
Ethan Bear, Russ. They also acquired Ethan Bear from Edmonton for Warren Fogelty.
But he's not he's not the top power play guy.
I like some of the things Carolina's doing. I don't think and getting Freddie Anderson, that's big. I mean, that's
They lost.
Now you know
they lost the
Freddie Anderson fan, right?
I'm saying that Freddie Anderson among the possible goalies out there is one of the better ones. Not saying
all of a sudden you're the biggest Freddie Anderson fan.
No, it's fine. You know what? Anderson is an upgrade for them, but they lost a 70-point defenseman. Where are those points getting made up?
All right, I want to talk to Kevin about one thing while we have Kevin for a second here. So Kevin, this is the thing that I'm now convinced that Joe Sakic is about as smart as anybody in the NHL. I mean, what he has done, he's done two incredibly smart things. First of all, he takes Landeskog down to the end and eventually gives him basically what he wanted the whole time, but made Landeskog sweat it out a little bit, right? Then he lets all these other goalies, the news of all these other goalies, sign in all these possible places where Grubauer could have signed, and still is talking to Grubauer about a deal. And as he's talking about the deal, Grubauer is sitting there while his agent is talking about the deal. Grubauer's watching place after place after place disappear.
Yeah, well, Sakic has played this pretty well. I mean, when it comes down to it, he'll have all the guys he wants signed, signed. And he was, when everyone else was doubting Grubauer, he was all about Grubauer. So I think he has, eternal faith in his ability to be their goalie. I'm not sure everybody in the league feels the same way, but that's how he feels. But I got to ask you, did they announce that Freddie Anderson's going to Carolina?
No, but it's been out there from numerous sources.
Yeah, it's
Friedman.
Yeah, that's
But until it's a guarantee, it's true.
So far we haven't seen any of these things missed, from any of these insiders so far. That they seem to be pretty
One
much
more
dead
contract
on.
that supposedly just got finalized. Suter, Dallas, 4 years, $3.65 million AAV.
That's still worth it. That's 4 years is too much.
4 years?
But the AAV is good.
4 years,
guys. If you're
4 years is too much, but the AAV is good.
But 4 years is meaningless because now it's even if it's a 35 and over contract, he retires, it drops off, so it doesn't mean anything. And if that's front loaded, then he gets all of his money in the first couple years.
Yeah.
The AAV is what counts there.
We do have to say the Hockey Buzz is down right now. Thanks very much, guys. We appreciate it. But you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm sure, or if you're already watching, you're okay. But we have gotten more like 3 times the traffic this year of any other time, which is amazing. We love you guys. But we're upping our, the way this works is it takes a second for the servers to catch up and up the way this whole thing works. So we'll be going pretty good, fine. But my oh my. You're awesome. You're pounding
just one more update. The pick that's going along with Holden is a 3rd round pick, supposedly.
Yeah. Supposedly, a minor deal, Russ, and it probably is not. It could be Leaf related, but it's probably Marley related. The Leafs acquired the rights for a defenseman named Brennan Menell, Menell. Don't know him either. Played 3 years in the AHL, 3 years with Vancouver in the WHL, and then he went over to the KHL last year and blew up. So I don't know if he's anything, but that's another deal. Kevin,
you're reporting that Gagne's going back to Detroit.
Yeah, he is going to Detroit. Back to Detroit. Yzerman basically said that. He needed right-handed shots. All 3 of his right-hand shots in the forward group are unrestricted free agents. So, and there weren't many in the UFA market. So he really needed to get probably at least one of those, and he got him in Gagne. They like Gagne because he's a great character guy. He's good with the kids. He can score 10 goals in a limited role, and he's willing to check and do whatever they need.
I really like him.
It's a good signing. Yeah. I did want to say too. Yeah, I did want to throw in that the Boston Hockey now, Joe Haggerty, who's usually on top of things, is reporting that the Bruins are heavily in on Getzlaf. And boy, that would be an amazing signing if Boston could bring Getzlaf.
I was just texted that Blake Coleman's going to Calgary.
Blake Coleman's going to Calgary. Well, I mean, the question is, Kevin,
4.5. 6 years, I think around 4.5 was the report.
Yeah, rumor 6 years, 4.9 mil is what I saw.
4.9.
The question is, Kevin, is Getzlaf a replacement for Krejci, or is Getzlaf a third line center?
Well, that is the question. Because if it's on top of Krejci, that's a much bigger deal, obviously, than losing Krejci, who's still a big part of who the Bruins are. So, if it's a replacement, it's not nearly as good. But if it's in addition to, it would be good. It's amazing about Coleman and Goodrow. Not only do they go and win 2 cups, but because they were on that championship team and they were highly visible, both of them really hit the jackpot in terms of, there's no way they would have gotten the money that they're getting now without those cups and the visibility.
What is the third line? What is the third line costing the NHL? Like the Tampa Bay third line, have we calculated out the exact price of this? It's pretty astonishing.
Well,
they're like a $20 million third line, aren't they?
No, 5 for Gord, 3-6 for Goodrow, and whatever Coleman gets. So yeah, it's probably a
lot more than they used to make.
13.5 mil total, basically.
13.5 million. Yeah, exactly. Kevin, just to go back to what we were starting with, it because I wanted to get your input on this. Julien BriseBois trades Tyler Johnson, gets Brent Seabrook in the deal, essentially opening up between cap and LTIR about $12 million in cap space with one deal. That's fun. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and I remember writing that he was probably out of tricks up his sleeves, but obviously he wasn't. He had one more in him. And this is huge. Yeah, and legalized cap circumvention. It's there for everyone, but BriseBois seems to be the only one that is willing to make these deals. And what's fascinating to me is how much was he helped by the fact that Johnson played well.
Yes,
in the playoffs.
A lot. That helped.
Yeah,
amazing amount. Yeah,
you couldn't move him before.
No, he had no value before that.
Well, yeah. I would see a corresponding move here from Chicago, probably trading Dylan Strome, because you got Taves coming back, Dotch as your number 2, or Johnson as your number 2 if you want to take the pressure off of Dotch. But unless you're going to move Dylan Strome to the wing, you got too many.
I think you're going to move Dotch to the wing, Michael. I think that's what they've done a lot last year. I think he's going to end up line up on the second line wing there.
NHL Network was showing Blake Coleman at $4.9 million for 6 years.
That's what I just said.
That's tough, man.
I'm sorry. There's too many.
Wow,
that's a lot of money. The other thing I noted also, about your defenseman, I forgot that Jersey also added Ryan Graves this offseason as well. So
yeah,
they between Graves and Hamilton, that's half their top 4 basically that they added.
And I mean,
Hamilton a done deal?
What? No, I mean it's pretty much well rumored all over the place.
It's not a done deal yet. No.
Not officially official. Same with Sakic and the Islanders is rumored disposal may be happening, according to McKenzie, but nothing finalized yet, and you have 5 minutes left to go.
Okay, this is showing that Seattle is using their cap space. Wenberg, a 3-year deal at $4.5 million.
Yeah, I want to say something here because
overpayment of money.
Did I not say that Seattle was going to do this? I told
you said 3.
I said
well, they don't have scores.
That's
they don't
one.
have centers,
we already know that Schwartz is going. That's 2.
Well, okay. So you know what? You'll be wrong at 3, and I'll be wrong at 1. It'll be right up the middle of 2, and everybody's happy.
That's not. They're not.
That's
done.
a lot of money for Wenberg. I mean, I know he had 17 goals, but that's a lot of money for Wenberg.
It is, but he is the kind of guy that you definitely want on a team like that. Like he is. He's always been like what he was with Columbus, what he was with Florida. He just works his tail off and sets an example all the time on the ice.
Well, he got rushed in Columbus, and I think Columbus would like to have him back. They made a mistake getting rid of him.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I think it's a very, very brilliant. I also
So the rumor is now 7 years, $60 million for Hamilton with the Devils. That's what I just got texted to me.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Nikita Zadorov goes to Calgary, and now Calgary signs Blake Coleman. Are we going to see a Goudreau or a Monahan or somebody with significant salary being traded there? I didn't think they had that much cap space to.
Isn't Goudreau's like no movement clause kicks in after today or something like that? Like at some like.
I'll check.
I think there's something to do with that they actually there was definitely something going on with that I read the other day.
We'll check on that.
So I don't know.
He has a modified no trade.
Yep.
Let's see. No, the modified no trade kicks in this year. He has to submit a 5-team trade list.
So that's this year. So that would be after today, right? Because this is the beginning. The beginning of this year.
It would be after 3 minutes from now because the year starts at 12 o'clock on July 28th. So, yeah, Flamester should know. Flamester knows all the details of all the.
I'm reporting too that that Florida has extended Verhaeghe. I'm just trying to get the number on it, but they have not.
I saw 3 years.
Yeah. They're not going to do. They're not going to be even dealing. They're not going to be dealing with Barkov at all right now. Not for a while.
We were talking about Vegas earlier. After acquiring Dadonov, they've only got 2.5 million left in cap space, and they've been rumored as having signed Danault, but there's no room for him like that.
Let's talk about this for a second because while we're here, the way this thing was handled with Fleury is one thing, but let's look at it from a hockey thing, okay?
Okay.
From a hockey's perspective, I have gotten a chance to meet Foley there, and talk to him, and I know you've talked to him too, Kevin, right?
Yes, I have a couple of times.
He is absolutely, passionate beyond belief. He absolutely loves and loved Marc-Andre Fleury in every which way. Like Marc-Andre Fleury to him was a guy that, he definitely appreciated what Fleury brought to the team. So when I saw this go down yesterday, I thought to myself, there is no way that they're making this move unless they have something very, very big that they went to him and said, we're gonna like blow your socks off with what we can do with that cap space.
Well, Dadonov is that, isn't it?
If Dadonov is that, then I am really, really lost. I don't know.
Unless you're using Dadonov, unless the other possibility is here, maybe are you going to use Dadonov as part of the piece, as a piece potentially to send another way,
or somebody else on the roster like a Riley Smith, or let's just say this: if they're in on an Eichel deal, they're probably trading multiple pieces off of their roster, like Alex Tuck, so they would clear some of the cap space necessary to bring in Eichel off of their roster.
I still think that has to. I still think there has to be something bigger because I can't
tell
imagine.
You this: if that happens and Peyton Krebs is a part of that, you can kiss their future goodbye because then they're really down to very few prospects, almost nothing.
What future, Russ? They traded all 3 first-round picks from 2017.
I know.
Kevin, did you talking to people yesterday? Did you feel that they got a pretty big hit? That they took a pretty big hit for the way they handled this?
Yeah, although I thought they did a really good job of rehabilitating themselves. McCrimmon came in and went in detail about the fact that he did keep both Alan Walsh and Fleury in the loop regarding his attempts to trade him. So the mistake was made, at the end when he didn't call and say, hey, look, we are going to get this done. And I didn't buy his explanation of you don't call until you complete the trade. I've talked about that with other general managers, and they said, well, first of all, you just get someone else to do the trade call, and then you get on the phone with them. So they didn't handle that. And I think there's a history there, obviously, with him and the way it was handled last summer. And then there's history with other players as well, complained about how they deal with personnel decisions. So, they do things right on the ice. They do things right in selling tickets in Vegas, but in personnel decisions, they lack a little bit of the class that you would hope that an NHL team would have.
I do want to mention one thing about Vegas. Their blue line is good on the top 4, and then it's getting thin now. Now you got Whitecloud and Haig on the bottom pair, and they don't have anybody else under contract. Like, they're going to have to bring in another very cheap defenseman and hope they don't have injuries. But they have injuries, problems.
Davy Jones has an interesting theory here. He's
and Frederick Harrison to Carolina is 2 years, 4.5 per.
That's a good deal for him.
Yeah, that's okay. That 3 years at 3.8 for Mrazek or 2 years at 4.5 for Freddie.
I'd rather have Freddie for that.
Does this
money.
surprise you, Kev, this Carolina deal?
He just dropped off.
Oh, he dropped off. Okay, cool.
He must be surprised.
Yeah, I guess that shocked him so much. Does this surprise you, Anthony? Carolina deal.
1 second, guys. I was just updating here because I just got the Brian Elliott just signed with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I just put that on the website too. We're all multitasking here at the same time.
Exactly.
What's he getting paid thow?
I don't know.
Yeah, but in terms of the Anderson deal, 2 years at 4.5, as we were discussing.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, between him and Ronta, that's. I think that's a solid deal. Carolina, I like Anderson in Colorado.
1 year, 900,000. Brian Elliott.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going there to get a Stanley Cup.
That's what he's hoping because that's cheaper than he's been the last.
Good for him. Honestly, there's not many people.
He's a good guy.
Yes.
Glenn Denning to Dallas. That might be why we lost Kevin. 2 years, 1.5.
Okay, no taxes in Texas.
That's a good deal for them. I mean, he's still a useful player.
Dallas has made some. They're definitely playing like their window is still wide open and they're going for it.
Yeah, Dallas has made some good deals here. Like I said, I'm worried about Vegas's blue line. I'm really worried about Carolina's power play because, again, you're counting on D'Angelo to run that thing now. It still makes no sense.
Russ, he can run the power play. The problem is, can he not run his mouth?
Yeah,
If he can't, if he stops that, then it won't be a problem. But if
I would love to ask Don Waddell why he was in such a rush to get rid of Jake Bean when he wasn't taken in the expansion draft. Now that you don't have Hamilton, it's inconceivable to me.
I couldn't agree with you more. There are certain things that are baffling right now. That's one of them. With you 100%. Something's up with Edmonton and gosh, I can't think of his name. Kemper.
Goalie?
Kemper.
Okay.
Kemper and Edmonton.
That's their last chance goalie. They're running out of goalies.
I'm gonna make a quick call, so I'm gonna get out of here for a second.
Okay. They're gonna sign Andy Moog. That's what they're gonna do.
I mean, they might as well. They're running out of goalies. They really are.
So a couple other signings just occurred. Sean Corrali has signed a 4-year contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets, so he's going close to home in this case.
4 years. Wow.
4 years total. Let me get the number. It's a 4-year deal worth $10 million for Corrali.
2.5.
Yep, and Andrew Caligliano is 1 year, $1 million with the Sharks. That was from Sheng Peng.
Okay, so he's going back to California, but northern this time.
And everybody appears to have cleared out in this case in terms of also everybody waived yesterday has cleared waivers for Elliott Friedman.
Yeah, 2 years, okay, so 2 years, $9 million for Freddie Anderson, 3 years, $11.4 million, 3.8 AAV for Mrazek.
And you've got Halak as well, who just signed with Vancouver. Discount.
And Alex Goligoski, according to Mike Russo, has multiple multi-year offers, but sounds like he's leading towards a very lucrative 1-year deal with the Wild.
Okay.
Goligoski looks like he's headed to Minnesota, according to Michael Russo.
So, Mike, the interesting thing here is they're not saving a ton of money here.
Right. And
they basically are going with Mrazek more than they would go with Anderson. And so that's an interesting one.
Well, okay. What I interpret this as is Freddie Anderson, if he was coming back, would expect to be the starter. And he's not going to be – he would not have been the starter. They think that Jack Campbell is the starter.
Okay. If you said that, then that's fair.
Yeah, Mrazek, I think, is comfortable with the same scenario that he had in Carolina as a tandem in a 1A, 1B scenario with Campbell. Now, the thing I said to you before we went on the air was that I don't know whether they can go into the season with Campbell as their starter making less than 50% of what the backup is making. So maybe it's going to be in.
Don't worry, Mike. That won't be a story in Toronto. They won't even talk about it.
No. I don't know anybody who's going to write about that. I'll be writing about that tomorrow. Are you kidding me?
I was just on the phone with a source in Arizona who said that there has been discussions on and off about involving Darcy Kemper and Edmonton in a trade scenario. I don't know. He says he's not sure if it's if it's falling apart right now or progressing, but it seems to be progressing. I was pretty vague, so I'm just throwing this out there as just a random thought, and for what it's worth, it does seem like it does make some sense. Obviously, I think because this is we maybe Edmonton could dump Koskinen in there somehow. I don't know. Probably not.
Like I said, the Arizona Coyotes are reminiscent of that airplane graveyard in the movie Con Air. Every bad contract goes to the Coyotes.
Yeah, the plane's getting heavy though, Mike. It's going to go down soon.
If I get anything more about it, I will definitely.
I can add something to the Kemper situation. One of the issues with him is Arizona has said they will not trade him without getting a first-round pick in the deal.
Right.
And that's been hard on a lot of teams have backed off on that because they don't want to give up a first-round pick. I also want to add something for Russ's benefit about being being the Hurricanes, tried to trade him to every team in the league. And they could not get anybody to take him. Finally, the Columbus was willing to take him.
Martin Jones to Philadelphia.
So,
Martin Jones. All right.
I said that on the air.
Kev, I get that. So then, aren't you better off just holding on to the player and seeing if he could reach his potential?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done that, but I don't think the head coach there has much faith in him.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so Elliott saying Martin Jones to Philadelphia. Okay,
you confirm, Anthony, that before we went on the air. That's what I told you.
Correct. All right,
Martin Jones is a good.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it stupidly. I didn't say it on the air. Oh my gosh. That's dumb.
Alex Goligoski, 1 year, $5 million from Minnesota. Holy moly!
Wow.
Who? Goligoski?
Yeah.
Seems
wow.
Had a good year last year, but I don't know if he had $5 million for it.
Yeah, it's 1 year, but also Mikhail Granlund back to Nashville. Not surprising, but the report was earlier this morning he was going to market. Well, I guess he went to market for exactly 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Jones' deal is 1 year, $2 million. By the way, according to Darren Dreger, 1 year, $2 million
for Martin Jones.
For Martin Jones of Philadelphia.
I like this. I do. I really do.
$2 million. Yeah.
Do you really like it? He is not played well.
Kevin?
He hasn't played well in forever.
He hasn't played well in forever,
statistics.
I do think he's a talented goalie. I do think a change of scenery will do him well.
Sub 900 save percentage the last 3 years.
They're taking a chance here. I probably would have been more comfortable with Laurent Brossoit, even with limited time behind Connor Hellebuck. I would have preferred Brossoit to Jones.
Travis Hamonic back to Vancouver, 2 years, $3 million.
Okay. Wow. This is the craziest thing. It is past noon now, obviously.
Here's the fringe benefit of the 5-day negotiating period not being in place. You have all these things happening at 12 noon. It would have leaked out over 5 days like it did over the last few years, and there was nothing to talk about on free agent day. Here, everything is happening in the span of 3 or 4 hours.
It's absolutely astonishing that all this was worked out so quickly. That there was no tampering that went on ahead of time.
Well, come on. I mean, be serious.
I mean, what is the way they're doing this? This is what I talked to somebody about it, and they say the way you do it now. I swear to God, this is what I was told. You talk to an agent, and you say to that agent, "I understand that you have a defenseman that you represent." And then he says, "Yes, I know. I do have a defenseman I represent. Yeah, I understand you have a right-handed defenseman who last year played for the Islanders that you represent. Yes, I do. And that is actually what is happening. That's what I was told. I swear to God, that was what I was told.
That's legal.
As long as you don't mention the player's name.
Yeah.
According to the Hockey News, David Savard signed with the Avs for 4 years for around $16 million.
With the Avs?
Yep. With the
Avs? The Habs or the Avs? I'm sorry.
The Canadians.
The Habs. As in, go Abs, go.
Well, Braden Holtby looks like he's signing with the Dallas Stars for 1 year. This is according to Dave Pagnotta.
So Montreal is guaranteed a French Canadian player in their lineup. Let's just throw that out there, because that was at risk.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're
David
just
Savard,
in a
David
sign
Savard,
French
David
Canadian
Savard
and
signed
draft French Canadians mode now, just so that people will stop talking about Logan Mailloux. So.
You're designated Canadian. Mikael Granlund is 4 years at $5 million for Nashville.
Wow.
Don't like that one. Don't like that one.
That was a very important for him to get that $5 million. That's why they didn't get that deal done. So obviously, Nashville, who needed him, gave in. They capitulated there because he wanted that $5 million. So
that's a big number for him.
Derek Forbort goes to the Bruins. Has there ever been a defenseman more attuned to playing with the Bruins than Derek Forbort? 3 years, $3 million per. He's a prototypical Bruin.
Oh.
In my mind, yes.
I think so.
So yeah, I'm just drawing the conclusion here. Basically, after seeing how much goalies are going for here, Martin Jones $2 million to Philadelphia, Antti Raanta $2 million to Carolina, Anderson $4.5 million to Carolina, Yaroslav Halak $3 million if you can include base salary and bonuses to Vancouver, and Mrazek 3.8 to the Leafs. Of those, I think Mrazek is the biggest overpay. I really do. I think he's an okay goaltender, but I don't know. I think the main.
Well, here's the thing about Mrazek. I do think he might be the biggest overpay, but he also might be the biggest bargain, and that's the problem with Mrazek. Like he has the potential to be incredible. Like he has moments where he is as good as anybody. Like he has Vasilevsky-esque type games. But then he also has, games where he disappears, and then
he looks like Hardy Astrom in other games.
My biggest issue with him is, I guess he has. Kevin's like you're saying he matured in Carolina because he didn't mature in Philly either. After I know he had the issues in Detroit, because the important thing about it, he's in a 1A situation again, or not even a 1A situation. But he's probably the backup. He's the backup, right? So he's the backup right now.
Well, no. Okay, he's not the backup. He's a tandem. He's a 1B. He's going to play. I'd say he's going to play 35 to 40 games. They don't want Campbell playing 50, 55 games because of his durability issues. Because he's constantly been getting hurt. I think they want to split them, and then in the playoffs, then more than likely Campbell's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I think. The thing is, Mrazek is not. How did he handle the tandem in Carolina, Kevin? Do you think he did a good job there handling the back and forth?
Yeah, he did. He didn't love it, but he was friends obviously with Kramer, and so they worked it out. But he didn't like it. I think that's in the end he felt like he for all that he did in the 2 previous years, that he was sort of getting the short shrift. But
right.
Signing Anderson is a really important public relations move for them, because nobody was deal in Carolina over the Nedeljkovic deal. Giving him up a 3rd round pick. So and now they get an established goalie, a goalie that was thought to be one of the better goalies available. So this is probably as much face saving as it is good for the team.
So,
yeah, that's a really good point.
$3.5 million for David Savard with the Canadiens. Boone Jenner signs in a 4-year extension with Columbus.
Yeah.
And there was one.
Braden Holtby to Dallas. Huh? You saw that?
Yes, Holtby is on a 1-year deal to Dallas.
And you guys, I was texting something when I saw that. That's
that tells you that Ben Bishop is done, because they wouldn't be signing Holtby.
But didn't Ben Bishop say he was in incredible shape and was open to going to Seattle?
Well, that might have been the justification for him waiving the no move. I
thought they were going to trade Khudobin.
I thought so too. Yeah, maybe that's who goes to Edmonton. Edmonton's got to get a goalie out of this somehow.
Jacques Plant's still available.
I mean,
well, we know.
Right.
We know Edmonton needs a goalie, but do they know?
I'm telling you, if they're going to do what they did with this year's first round draft pick, trade the friggin' first round draft pick and get Kemper. That's how I see it. I mean, there's it's just for crying out loud.
Kev, if there's one team that shouldn't be trading defensemen for forwards, it's the Edmonton Oilers. And yet they traded a good young defenseman in Ethan Bear for Warren Fogle.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, they bring back Tyson Barrie, who's an offenseman, not a defenseman. You have a 37-year-old Duncan Keith who, is on the sunny side of a Hall of Fame career, but, can still play. Clefbaum is not going to be part of the, they lost Adam Larson. Darnell Nurse can only play so many minutes. I don't get what they're doing. I don't understand it.
I mean, if we were writing as a group, the winners and losers thus far, wouldn't Edmonton be the number one loser, having lost Adam Larson?
Yeah.
No, I think Toronto would be right now with losing Hyman.
But the abuse they took over the Duncan Keith deal and the Ethan Bear deal. There's no goaltender.
I tend to agree with you, Kev. I mean, that's why they have to do something to. I mean, talk about they need the public relations hit here now as well. I mean, they're in the same boat that Carolina was in.
Did we also mention Zach Bogosian already? I'm sorry.
No.
Bogosian looks like it's $850,000. I think it's 3 years, $850,000.
Yeah, 3 years, $850,000
with Tampa.
Yeah,
so
cap it with Tampa. So
he went back. He went back.
All right, so.
Oh yes. And Terry in the chat just reminded me. If you needed one more confirmation of the disaster that the Edmonton defense is, they're supposedly going to sign Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
Cody Ceci got better as the year went on last year, but my gosh, I agree with you. I mean, I went on record last year saying that in the beginning of the year that Tom Laidlaw right now would be better than Cody Ceci. But that was early in the year. So as the year went on, he got better. DJ Smith signs an extension with the Senators.
Yes.
Okay, that's something. We're gonna have our new Senators writer Kevin. He can pop by when we have some space. Right now we're all packed in. But later when someone drops off, Dan
Petru is going to be joining us.
Other people later too, so we'll have we'll be swapping people in and out. I want to get your opinion. While we have Corinne, let's get some things. Let's talk Montreal for a second, Corinne, because we have there's three. We're not going to talk about Price. He's there. There's two.
We're not going to talk about Logan Mailloux because that's
we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Phillip Danault, and that is a guy, by the way, who still has not really been placed anywhere, right? Like that's of all the free agents.
Most rumors placed him in Los Angeles and then in Vegas, but with Vegas making that move and not having that much room anymore after Dadonov, I don't know what to make of that.
I've heard Seattle with him too.
Yeah, but it's been reported though that the price tag for Danault is between $5 and $6 million.
Right.
And I don't think that Montreal was willing to pay that. So we are coming to terms with the fact that, Montreal is going to lose Danault. But at the same time, I find it almost unbelievable that he could get a $6 million deal out there.
But Corinne, let me just ask you, as I was listening to the TSN broadcast before we went live, oh my God, they've replaced Phillip Danault. They've signed Cedric Paquette.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
Yeah, no, that's not that. But Paquette is going to be a depth center that plays on the fourth line. He's not going to replace Phil Danault, not at all. That's going to be Jake Evans, but clearly
your backup French Canadian.
Not yet. Backup French Canadian. Yeah, exactly. If Paquette doesn't replace Danault, you need someone else to do that. But who else is there on the market?
David Rittich has signed with the Preds.
There's your backup in Nashville.
Soros, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But speaking of the Habs, though, I mean, I find it funny that Savard signed at $3.5 million as well. That's like the Bergevin default price for a defender. That's exactly what Ben Sherratt is making, what Jalen Munson is making. It's like 3.5. That's for the okay.
So Braden Holtby got the exact same deal as Martin Jones. 1 year, $2 million with them.
Russ, Patrick Nemeth did sign with the Rangers 3 years, $2.5 million. You're muted.
Wow. That's a loss for Colorado.
The ability to do that to Russ sometimes. Hit that mute button.
I mean, I think that is definitely a loss for Colorado.
I got to tell you, the speed factor for Nemeth worries me. So who'd you say Holtby went to? Dallas?
Dallas.
Same. Yeah, it's the exact same deal as Martin Jones just got in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I would take Holtby over Jones every day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I had Holtby at 7 for me. Ranked. Jones was just outside my initial top 10 of options, so he was completely off the board that I had set up for goalie options. So again, Philly in this case, I guess, but again, both teams are banking on both players being better in new environments, but Jones has had such a rough go. Jones
has been bad for 3 years.
I just feel like that Dillabob's got – he's got to get things on the right path with Hart. There seemed to be there seemed to be a bit of a disconnect between them last season.
All right.
Now they're bringing in Jones, who –
I got to be honest, Dillabob's got the worst job in the league because last year he was frustrated with Hart, and I get it. And now you have Martin Jones, who hasn't been good in 3 years.
Yeah, I am not. It's the first. Even with all the criticism of the Ristolainen deal, there's still. I feel that Jones is really the first true scratcher.
No, I agree with you on that.
I just was told that the Devils are talking to Zach Parise.
The Devils.
That's not surprising.
Devils are just going all in this year, aren't they?
Whatever. They have money to spend.
They are splashing. They want
to burn.
So here's a question for the panel. What is really the difference between Boone Jenner and Blake Coleman? Other than Blake Coleman won a cup, that Boone Jenner contract is probably what is worth what Blake Coleman is worth.
Sorry, I can't hear you with my Stanley Cup rings in my ears.
Yeah. So the Boone Jenner is a good signing. The Blake Coleman shows what a bad signing that is.
Yeah. No, that's it. I agree with you. There's a couple. You have to look at who's not doing something because it's easier to talk about who's not doing anything right now. And I think that is important in the fact that the LA Kings have done nothing, right? And the LA Kings are one of the teams that is rumored to be in on Eichel.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. It doesn't seem like that's a coincidence.
Anaheim hasn't done anything.
Anaheim hasn't done anything either.
Now, would Minnesota signing a 30-something-year-old defenseman at $5 million say that they're not?
Yeah, Minnesota's out on Eichel. I reported that earlier. And although the joke about that to them was they said, we don't know that we were ever really in it, but sure, we're out. Because like the reality is like the price on Eichel is so high that Minnesota never really thought it was.
And honestly, I've heard people criticize the Sabres for saying, "Oh, you're being unreasonable." He's a top 10 NHL center. If you're not unreasonable for him, who the hell are you going to be unreasonable for?
Yes, he's a top 10 center, Mike, but there's a big risk there. Is he healthy? Does he still want the bloody operation? Does he not? You don't know that. I mean, remember the last time that Buffalo put a center on the market? What did they get back for Ryan O'Reilly? Not much.
I told you, I have a feeling now that he's going to start the season with no operation. And all of a sudden, Jack Eichel is going to start the season with Buffalo. That's what I really feel is happening.
But Corinne, that situation was different because the ownership did not want to pay an $8 million signing bonus, and they took less in the deal from St. Louis because St. Louis paid the bonus. If they're not cheap, they get a lot more for Brian O'Reilly.
I have a couple things to add with regards to Jones. By the way, I know I keep coming back to Philly, but
definitely go for it.
So Vegas. Wait, was Brossois a UFA? I didn't even realize.
Yes, Brossois was UFA.
Yeah, he was a UFA.
There's your bad.
He was the other goalie the guy was kind of focusing in on. Now
Vegas signed him 2 years, $2.325 million.
Okay, so just very quick shift back to Jones. Kevin Kurtz, who covers the Shark. A couple things here, and also Charlie O'Connor. One thing we have to remember about Jones. Dillabot has history with Jones. He was with the Kings.
Yes.
So he's worked with him. So that's definitely a factor in the deal. The second part of it is Kevin Kurtz stated, count me among those who believe that Jones can still be effective with a lesser workload and presumably a sharper focus to remain in the NHL.
I'm not in that camp. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
I need to see it first.
I talked. So last night when I heard about this, I talked to a couple of my buddies that are on the Sharks, a couple players on the Sharks. You know, and I just texted them, and I got on a phone conversation with one of them for a very long time. Another guy who used to play with them, doesn't play there anymore. They all had exactly that. Kevin, what's Kevin saying there is definitely the feeling.
Yeah, sure,
exactly.
that's the feeling.
But they really said that the guy still has. He just needs just a new start. That the defense was so bad, the system was so bad, and they said that you know now Philly's system defense wasn't great either. But
I want to go back. Martin Jones played 34 total games for the Kings, dating back to 2015.
But but remember, Dillabaugh was the goalie development coach there.
I get it, but a lot has happened between now and then. A lot.
Again, the hope is
injuries, mental issues.
I am not turning you and saying that this is.
I know
we got sunshine and roses because the Flyers have signed Martin Jones. What I'm saying is that they are banking on obviously Dillabaugh's previous relationship with him. That they can get him back. And again, Kurtz mentioned the fact that he feels that with he's just not a starter at this level, but in a lesser, maybe in a more of a shared workload or a lesser workload, that he can, and with a better blue line in front of him,
definitely
that could be help. That could be a possibility there. So
I think
that's a lot of hoping.
I honestly feel like Carter Hart is the price type goalie that is going to want to play all the time. I think Carter Hart is a guy. I think that he's the go, and he'll be. I think that what you're seeing here is a veteran guy who is a good guy who will be there. Be supportive for Hart. I think it's. Listen, there weren't many options. They definitely tried.
Let me give you a scenario, Ek. What if Carter Hart gets hurt for just a 2-week period? For a 2-week period, how good do you feel about Martin Jones?
No, you know what? I honestly think that if that happens, that you might see you might see a guy come up from the AHL, I think Lyon might come up and be the guy, they like him. I
do think there's that possibility. I would have to agree.
Alex Lyon is not a bad goalie. And I think at some point be an NHL's backup at least. Well, and I think that Jones will stay the backup. I think they will keep Jones in that backup role. And if Hart goes out, you would see a split probably between Jones and Lyon. I would think.
Here's a concern for, one organization. The Buffalo Sabres don't have an NHL goalie, and they're dropping off. They're dropping like flies as we speak.
All right, CC has signed with the Oilers. Sorry.
Okay. Let's wait for the number on that. If
4 years, $3.25 million. Per.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what to say, man.
Jeez.
I used to like Cody Ceci. I don't know what to say.
Ken Holland, God bless you.
I'm going to try to get we try to get Kevin on from because I talked to him about this earlier. Kevin from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Did I send you his email, Mike?
You did not.
Okay, I'll send it to you now. Okay.
Yep. Do it.
Okay. Yeah, because he'll have some things to say about this.
No, I mean that's an abominable signing. I'm sorry. That is just. I mean, if Cody Ceci was, I can't remember what the Penguins signed him for. I think it was like $1.5 million or something like that. That's acceptable. I would rather have Zach Bogosian at $850 for 3 years than Cody Ceci for 4 years at $3.25. That is just dumb, really dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mackenzie's reporting that Parisi's going to the Islanders. If
the Islanders,
here we go.
If the Islanders and Devils actually had a bidding war over Zach Parise.
They actually did. They actually both talked to him today.
This is the craziest day ever for that. Like, it just doesn't even make sense.
Yep. There you go.
X Leap's getting overpaid. That is the line of the day.
But Cody Ceci, what has he done for that contract?
Well, okay. All I know is, okay. I don't think Freddie Anderson was overpaid based on the market for goaltenders. But,
no, he's not. He's not.
But and it was a 2-year deal. So, but Zach Hyman, as much as I love Zach Hyman as a player, and I'm very happy for him, and I wish him all the best in Edmonton. That deal is so ridiculous in terms of the term, and he's 29 years old. by 33, 34, he'll have lost a step. He won't be the player that he is now, and then they'll have to deal with the last 2 or 3 years of that contract. That's but like I said, Ken Holland
off to San Jose.
Who?
Reimer?
James Reimer going to San Jose.
They said that it was either Vegas or San Jose.
He was
all going to Vegas. Reimer was pretty much.
He's been in San Jose before, so he's going back to where he played. So is your goaltending tandem in San Jose Aiden Hill and James Reimer?
I mean, Mike, they're not expecting to make the playoffs anymore.
No. I know.
I will say this. You want to know a good signing? Eric Robinson for 2 years, $2.3 million for Columbus is a very good signing because, again, I covered him in Princeton. The guy has speed. He does score you some goals. He penalty kills. That's a really good signing for them. If there were more of those signings today in this league, salaries would not be as crazy as they are.
Well, this is.
There's some insane deals out there.
There were some really intense. I was told deep talks with Parise in New Jersey right before this happened. So I don't know. I guess who knows? Or TSN just said the devil.
Throw something. Okay. I wanted to throw something in about the Luke Glendening signing by Dallas because I think it provides some insight into Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman loved Glendening as a player.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a slam dunk that he was going to keep him. But I had heard in the last 3 or 4 days that he was playing hardball with Glendening on a contract. And I think that's pretty clear that he was because he signed for $1.5 million over a 2-year deal with Dallas.
But then he goes to Jim Nill. It's like he went from Yzerman to Nill.
Well, but the point of all that is, as much as Yzerman liked him, he wouldn't give him more than the apparently 1.3 or maybe even less. Maybe he's trying to give him a pay cut than he was earning last time. And he's got when it's all said and done, after he signs his last 4 players and his restricted free agents, I estimate he's going to have almost $17 million in cap space. But he's not giving that up for nothing.
You know what it is, Kev? Yzerman is like that occasional guy that you see on American Pickers where the guy says, "This is my price," and they try and haggle with him, and the guy goes, "Nope, this is my price. That's it." And it seems like that was it with Yzerman. This is all I'm going to pay you. We love you, but this is my price for you, and that's it.
Here's the narrative that is defining the day so far from Chris Johnston of Sportsnet. We saw a great deal of restraint in the NHL's October 2020 free agent market. Restraint has since left the building.
Oh, yeah.
People are going nuts. This is some of the contracts out there are just baffling.
All right, here's a ludicrous contract. Derek Forbert now just got 3 years, $9 million from the Bruins.
But he's a typical Bruin. Russ, he's a typical Bruin.
But Mike, he is a typical bottom pairing guy.
I agree.
That is very limited to what he can do. He can play at the NHL level, but he is very limited to what he can do. And you just gave him $3 million.
I agree. I agree.
Well, what's the worst contracts here?
Cody Ceci is one of the worst.
Bad.
Three and a quarter for 4 years for Cody Ceci. I have to say, I think Zach Hyman is one of the worst contracts. I'm not going to
go Hyman. I'm going to go Blake Coleman. That is a bad contract.
Yeah.
Blake Coleman's a bad contract.
I think Mrazek is a bad contract.
It's on the edge of being a bad contract. It is.
Oh, Michael Bunting to Toronto, 2 years, $900,000.
Wow. Okay. That's, okay. This is a guy who scored 10 goals in 21 games.
Yeah.
After scoring well at the AHL level for 3 years. So he got an opportunity. He was one of those players that if he doesn't play a certain amount of games, he's a Group 6 UFA, like Nedeljkovic. But Nedeljkovic played enough games that he became an RFA. 25 years old, really good speed, pretty good skill. He for the Leafs, of course, the reason why he was signed, he played for Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas in Sault Ste. Marie.
I'm going to tell you a bad signing, but in the opposite direction. Pierre LeBrun's reporting that DJ Smith got an extension worth $1.25 million a season. The fact that an NHL coach is making that little is crazy. DJ Smith is a good coach.
Russ.
Wow, you know what?
Jared Tenorti. Whoa, sorry. Jared Tenorti to the New York Rangers, Russ. There's your enforcer.
All right. They're Korean. The Montreal Canadiens, Jeff Molson, just put a letter out.
Yeah, I saw it.
Do you see this?
Yeah, I did see it. Bottom line is,
I'm going to go over it really quickly. This is fascinating. Okay, message everyone in. This has issued the following letter on the team's decision to draft Logan Mailloux. Okay, message to everyone impacted by our decision. I want to share with you my perspective on our decision to select Mailloux in the draft. I'm going to go quick through this. Okay, the decision made in the context of the draft turned out to be instantaneously very offensive to many of you. I understand that you expect more from us and we let you down. The Montreal Canadiens are more than a hockey team. Logan's actions do not reflect the values of organization. I apologize for the pain this selection has caused. First and foremost, regarding the young woman who's the victim, I want to say we do not minimize what happened to her. I'm going through this as best I can. Sorry, not to do. Our selection of Logan was never intended to be disrespectful towards her or her family. More generally towards women or other victims or similar situations. Our decision was not intended in any shape or form to be an endorsement of the culture of violence against women. Logan is a young man who committed a serious transgression, is genuinely remorseful about the pain he caused. He's committed to becoming a better person and will work him through this pain. So he's basically...
he's still not giving a good enough explanation as to why they thought it was a good idea to choose him. And actually, to be fair, he's not even a first-round talent.
He's kind of doubling down. And then he goes on to say, we've asked Logan not to participate in our rookie or main training camps this fall. Being in the NHL is a privilege that is earned, not a right that is granted.
Then why did you take him?
As the year progresses, we'll reassess Logan's readiness to be part of our organization.
Michael, this is their way of tracking on that of their version of backtracking on.
They're saying we gave Logan a second chance, but in doing so, we failed to properly assess the impact of our decision on the victim and on anyone who suffered in similar circumstances. Once again, I want to apologize to everyone impacted by our decision.
Corinne, after I say this, definitely you next. Which means you've taken a bunch of crap since you've picked him, so now you're backtracking. That's not good enough. How about justifying why you took the guy in the first place? Go ahead, Corinne.
It is not good enough, and it's brought on by the fact that yesterday there was a lot of trouble in Montreal with Desjardins, Saint-Hubert, and I can't remember what the other sponsor was, but a lot of the big business that supports the Habs were threatening to pull their support. So that letter comes out as a reaction to this, and it doesn't say much. But at least it says that he won't be invited to training camp and blah, blah, blah until he's earned it.
But
it's just too little, too late. That's the problem.
Corinne, here's the other thing. He's not even a first-round talent, and they took him in the first round.
I know, so I don't know why they jumped on him that early.
I can't even explain that part of it.
Nor can I really, but there we are.
Possible time to put out the statement.
Well, that's pretty much because they're saying we're not doing anything else today.
Yeah,
I mean, let's talk about you could do this tomorrow, the next day. I mean, you're doing it at 12:39.
Exactly what they were doing. There's a wave of info that's out there.
They're slipping this in.
This is like in the newspaper.
This might as well be Friday. This is the version of Friday at 5 p.m.
Yes.
Right.
Everything's in
that was the point I was trying to make.
Sorry, Michael.
Anyway, I had to stop for a second. That was a little bit crazy.
So Russ, do you now feel safer with Jared Tenorti playing?
No, he's going to get called up 4 times a year. He's going to get called up when they feel like, oh, Tom Wilson's going to take advantage of us. Let's call up Tenorti. Great. That's a great signing.
Now, if this is Mark Tenorti, this would be a lot better, right?
Yeah, his Mark, it'd be different. And listen, I like Jared as a guy. Like, he's overcome a lot. But that's the reason they got him.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody is overdoing it with the hard to play against and the height and weight factor of players. They're overdoing it on every team in the entire league.
So now you've got Barclay Goodrow, you've got Sammy Blais, and now you've got Jared Tenorti. Russ, you're back in it. It's like,
you know what? You get a few more of those guys, you'll never have a chance at the playoffs.
Oh boy.
This is called Russ sipping tea right now.
No, I mean, it's just, why do you need a player like Buchnevich who could score 30 goals? You don't need those guys.
Nah.
It's not like Kakko scored.
You don't need goals to win in hockey.
No.
Oh, boy. Chris Weidman signs 1 year with the Habs at $750K.
That's a good signing.
Yes.
Well, he played. He played in Europe, right? Like he was in Europe.
He's in the K.
He's in the K.
Okay, right. Okay.
It's like 31, 32, something like that.
Yeah, the whole reason for the Leafs trading for the rights to that player that I mentioned before, Russ, is he's a right-hand shot defenseman. He's 25 years old, and he had a good year in the KHL. So it's worth a stab in the dark. They've signed him to a 2-way deal, and maybe they lock
I know,
it.
but the Leafs haven't had very good luck with these KHL guys.
Well, this guy's from Minnesota, so
I know, but when they come over back from the KHL, they've not had very good luck with it.
Speaking of Minnesota, according to Michael Russo, it says it sounds like Ian Cole has offers that could be too much for the Wild to match.
Which is why they signed Goligoski.
And which is why I think they're going to sign Foligno. But Getzlaf is staying in Anaheim, kid.
I don't know about 100% about.
Yeah, Getzlaf is staying in Anaheim.
Is that official?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I was shocked when you had said he might leave. I really didn't think
he definitely talked to other teams.
No, I'm sure he did. I mean, he probably wanted to check things. Here's the thing about Ian Cole, though, real quick. When you pay Goligoski more than $1 million or more than that, what he's worth in a single season, that's why you can't afford Ian Cole anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are we sure on Foligno? Because I've heard things different.
What I heard last night that it was almost definitely going. He was almost definitely going to Minnesota, and that it looked like it was basically done. Today, I have heard that other teams have definitely got involved. So
I know that Toronto was still talking with him.
I heard Colorado and who did one other team. I did not. I heard Toronto was not involved, but I could. Anything could be possible. But I still think at the end of the day, it sounded like Minnesota was really close. So we'll see.
There was some reporting out of Toronto. Kevin McGran of the Toronto Star was saying that they were still in contact.
Okay.
I just heard a cup of noodles, which used to be worth like 80 cents, is now selling for $3.50 today in the NHL based on these prices.
So sign a 1-year deal with ramen noodles.
Yeah. For $3.50, it's worth $80.
Man, oh man. Jeez, this is like exhausting. I don't know about you guys. I'm not
exhausted. I'm invigorated. You know what's going to happen?
Jonathan Bernier with the Devils, $8 million total, 2 years.
What happened?
$4 million for Jonathan Bernier for 2 years.
Yeah, $4 million. Report. Yeah, I heard that was going to be the report. $4 million. So
that's
$4 million
the end of it.
It's $4 million AAV for him, right?
All of a sudden, Mrazek is not the worst.
That's why I never again. Even though I had for Philly in terms of Bernier.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
Top of the list. My biggest concern was the fact that his number was going to be.
Yeah, we talked about that over lunch. I told you I didn't think they could afford it.
Yeah, and I was in agreement with you on that.
And you agreed with it, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, because Kevin, you said that Bernier played really well with Detroit, but you're paying $4 million for a backup when you're not really a playoff team.
The Red Wings were willing to pay him, I think, $3 million. That's what they gave him last year. He's really been an effective goalie. Probably played better in Detroit over these last 2 seasons than he had previously, and he thought he had a lot of options out in the marketplace. So, who did he sign with?
The Devils.
Jersey.
So he's going to be the backup to
for $4 million.
Yeah.
No, it's $2 million. It's $2 million a year. So
it's no, that's far more. No. It's 2 years. $8 million total.
$8 million.
No, I was told, I'm not sure about that.
This is from Renaud Lavoie.
I think that's wrong because I just
he said around $8 million total, 2-year deal.
$2 by $2 million is what I was told from New Jersey.
We'll see. I mean, but if it,
I don't think he would take 2. I don't think he would take 2.
If it was 2, I would be stunned. This sounds far more likely for a guy who was going into free agency with a chance. And again, in a situation where technically when he got traded to Carolina, he was in position to potentially be, a starter there. to me in this circumstance, it $4 million. That is at the beginning threshold of starter salary, or at least a 1-1A situation, which is probably what will happen in New Jersey.
$4 million.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that $4 million sounds like too much and $2 million sounds like too little.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I just 2 per year. I don't think that's right. I'm nothing against Renee, but I'm talking directly to New Jersey.
Okay, well
we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
We'll find out in a few minutes. If it's $4 million, then it's not a bad deal. If it's $8 million, it's a bad deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
And in that case, if it is a 2-year deal, Bernier at $2 million, then I'd say for the Flyers, there's some criticism there.
Yes.
Going for Jones instead.
Oh yeah.
If that is accurate, but
then we're back to Mrazek being the worst one.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. All right, we'll get to the bottom of it, but
But who's going to be the last goalie? Like all of a sudden that is going to have a hard time getting a job because
Ullmark hasn't signed yet.
Yeah, Ullmark will assume,
and Grubauer hasn't signed yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's musical chairs, and somebody's going to get left out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna send you this email right now, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm dying to find out what whether it's 2 or 4 million, but
I'm not gonna lie. To me, in this market, I just find it extremely hard to believe that it's he's just getting $2 million on a 2-year deal.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Now, Kevin, I think that an organization like when you were offline a couple minutes ago, I was saying a team like the Sabres has to be concerned because they have no goalies. They have none. They don't have, Dustin Tokarski could be their backup, but they don't have Ullmark signed. And with the goalies dropping off like crazy, you have to have a goalie.
Yeah, you do. I had heard from another general manager that Ullmark was going back there.
So did I, but it hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
Yeah. But he hasn't gone anywhere else either.
Right, and a lot of these places, in a lot of places are
probably who's still looking for a goal.
Yeah,
Grubauer and Ullmark are the two most prominent that are unsigned.
But who's looking for a goal?
Arizona's got Colorado, Buffalo. Then the rest are probably looking for backup. Arizona's looking for backup.
Sirius Radio reports that Bernier is $4 million AVV.
There you go.
For 2 years.
$4 million, baby.
Yeah. That makes far more sense in this market than $2 million. Again, Philadelphia, I know, had interest in him. At $2 million,
they couldn't afford $4 million.
No, not at $4 million. And again, he had the opportunity to be a starter of 1-1A in this case. Philly, it's not, it's an even workload, but you know who the starter is.
Yes.
I mean, you could say the same thing in New Jersey with Blackwood, but I think it's more
fluid. If Blackwood slumps a little, they would use Bernier for a
You could say the same thing, but again, you could say the same thing for Hart too, because again, he had a rough season.
But Blackwood,
I don't think they're thinking like that, Ant, but you're right. But I don't think Philly thinks like that, right? And they probably shouldn't, because you want to be positive about it. Where New Jersey, I think they probably would think like that, like, hey, just in case.
But Blackwood was pretty solid last year. There wasn't many stretches where, there was stretches when he had COVID, I believe, and that's what
to make up for what happened last year after they lost Crawford.
Yes,
and they want to make sure that the goalie situation is solidified, and I think Bernier. Yes, Michael.
Friedman just reported Bernier 4.125.
4.125. Yep.
So that's 8.25 for 2 years.
Oof.
Well, that's the benefit. That's the benefit of having space. You can overpay somebody.
Yep.
I don't know.
Look, I mean, the Devils are better. Don't get me wrong; they are better today as a result.
Now, did we get confirmation on the Hamilton signing?
No, they're not ready. They're still not ready to. It's moving in that direction, but they're not yet comfortable saying it for sure yet.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, my source just corrected itself. Sorry about that. No, I mean it's it's
no.
I don't know. You know, what can you do? You know,
It happens.
I mean,
it happens. Yes,
it happens. It happens. There's somebody with the team, so it's like, you know, what can you do? Usually, a person with the team is knows what's going on. It's okay. It's all good. Mistakes happen. I heard as far as the Hamilton deal, it should be 8.5 to 9 million in that range. I was told. But they are still ironing things out. You're correct on that one.
One possible signing that I think we should look out for. It may happen. It may not happen. But I don't have a source on this. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together.
That would be 4. We got that.
Thank you very much.
Just learned that one.
I learned that in first grade. Thank you.
Just learned it now.
Tyler Bozak going back to the Leafs. He loved it in Toronto.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to re-sign him when he went free agent to St. Louis. He got a cup with the Blues. If the Leafs are keeping Kerfoot and moving him to the left wing, then they need a third-line center. And Bozak might be willing to take a lesser deal to come back.
What do you call lesser deal?
No.
Let's let Mike lay out the lesser deal. Tell
Are you
us,
serious?
Mike.
He's going to free agent. If he can't come to terms with St. Louis,
He
in a role that's definitely set for him,
Yeah.
you think he's going to take a discount to come to Toronto?
Yes, I do.
At what rate, Mike?
I would say about $2 million.
This is his last contract. I don't think he'll do it.
I don't think so, Michael. Not at a discount. Maybe Toronto moves something else off to make space for him.
Maybe.
That's
Well, he's not gonna- he's-
likely, but
he's not gonna make- He's not going to make big money. He had injury problems.
He's not going to make as little as you think just because you want him to
He's still a
stay
third line center.
Toronto.
Okay.
He's still a third line center.
Well,
There's a team like Philly, I think, is still looking potentially at third line centers in this.
Yeah, I don't know if they can afford it.
Right now, Philly's in the same boat. They'd have to move off.
Yeah.
As I said earlier with the conversations we had yesterday,
Yeah.
that Philadelphia would have to probably move off salary in order to get any kind of any substantive kind of middle to bottom 6 upgrade.
I can't make this stuff up, and this is one of the reasons why people will throw digs at Kyle Dubas. Terry Koshan is reporting that the Leafs are going to sign to a 2-way deal. So this is not it may possibly a 2-way deal, but maybe a 1-way deal. Former LA King Mike Amadeo. Russ, I'll give you a bio round of beer, or buy you a beer next time we see each other if you can guess where he is from. Sault Ste. Marie.
There you go. I should have said that.
Now
That's always the default.
He didn't play for the Greyhounds.
Right.
He is from Sault Ste. Marie. There's always a connection to the Sioux.
I mean, God, if you talk to if you got Wayne Gretzky was part of the Sioux.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a paperboy that hasn't been signed by the Leafs that's from the Sioux, Mike. I mean,
but it's almost every Kyle Clifford played for the Sioux.
This is between you and Kyle Dubas. I'm out of it.
Joe Thornton played for the Sioux. I mean,
I'm out of it.
Can we
Someone
talk for a
has to
second
get
about
like a Sault Ste. Marie jersey for Christmas this year.
Yeah,
I
there you
have
go.
a Sault Ste. Marie jersey because it's the Greyhounds, and I've adopted Greyhounds.
I'm waiting for the Leafs to trade for Morgan Frost because he played for the Sioux.
Can we talk for a second about the big elephant in the room, which is that the Vancouver Canucks are terrified that Elias Pettersson is going to be offer sheeted?
That's
stop it!
No,
crap.
It is not crap, and
who's going to do it? Ek? Tell me who's going to do it.
There are 2 teams that are. Listen, I don't think anyone's going to do it. I'm explaining to you what they think. Okay. Grant,
Yes.
I do not think this is happening. I don't buy it, but I'm just saying that they're acting as if they have to clear space. And when I talk to somebody within the organization, this is why they legitimately feel like this could happen. All right. So the fear that they have is Montreal. Okay. Would offer sheet Elias Pettersson. However, someone at the NHL said Buffalo would offer sheet Elias Pettersson.
Buffalo's not offer sheeting anybody.
Buffalo is going to give up the equivalent of 4 first-round picks when they're the worst team in the league, and they'd be giving up the number 1
Zero
pick.
fan. Zero. How do I do zero?
It makes no sense to me. I'm simply passing this along. Montreal is the predominant name out there. Montreal has offer sheeted people before. We remember this, so this is something that, they have, with Carolina, we remember, the Aho offer sheet, right? Mm-hmm. Is Montreal crazy enough, Corinne, to offer sheet Elias Pettersson? Corinne is.
I don't think so. Even with Shea Weber's injury and the money that takes off the book, I don't think they do it. Too tight against the cap as well. No.
I mean, but also just
because Montreal still needs
giving up the draft picks.
Still need help up front.
Yeah.
Well, their prospect cupboard is quite good right now, but still the price tag for that kind of offer sheet, I don't think it would work. And even when you did it for a whole, it was only like a half-hour offer sheet. Really, it wasn't that hard to match, was it? It wasn't expensive enough.
I still don't understand why they.
That offer sheet was a joke.
To this day, it's just like if you're gonna make an offer sheet, you gotta make it. You gotta make it.
You gotta make it hurt. You gotta make it
hurt. Otherwise,
I talked to a GM at the time about this offer sheet situation, and they said, one of the things is offer sheets, they're expensive. He said they cost about $150,000 to offer sheet a player because of the legal stuff you have to do.
Right.
So he's like, so that's why he says, if
more of a reason. It's just like
I know that's why he said, Montreal, I guess, can throw $150,000 out the window, but we can't.
That's their press box hot dog budget. That's nothing for them.
And Corinne, you have to tell me, because I've never been in the press box in Montreal, how good are those hot dogs?
They are pretty good, and actually, they were free during the Stanley Cup final.
They're always free. They're actually always free.
Well, we're going there for the NHL draft, so they better have those friggin' hot dogs in June.
I got a call.
Sure they will. Sure they will.
Now, Ray
Ferraro on the hot dog purveyor right now.
Ray Ferraro
checking that.
Ray Ferraro on TSN regarding the Dadonov trade. This does set up in Vegas for Jack Eichel for something big.
Thank you.
The only thing that means is, okay, Dadonov is the replacement for somebody who they'd be trading in the Eichel deal.
Yeah, like Riley Smith, but you know what? That's not a replacement. Riley Smith penalty kills. Right. Riley Smith is faster. Yeah. Riley Smith is a better player.
What they're saying is, in this circumstance, is that you would send Dadonov instead of Smith.
Maybe.
That's what they're trying to do here. If you get Dadonov, that helps you get closer with.
If they want to spend the money that they just signed Dadonov for, though.
Who they traded, Nick Holden and a second-round pick. This to me screams that this can't be your main guy. This cannot be your main guy. That you're using him in addition to a package of other things with prospects, getting whatever the salary a little closer with regard. What does Smith make currently under his current contract with?
I think it's $525, but let me double check.
Yeah, something like that. I'll tell you what. I think Vegas is teetering on the absurd now.
5.
So you have 5, and how much Dadonov makes? 5.5.
Dadonov, I think, is 5 as well, but let me see. 5. He's 5.
You could potentially send 2 guys.
Yeah, and Riley Smith would basically be a salary clear because he's only got 1 more year. That's the whole thing. Like, honestly, if say, for example, there is a Sabre deal for Eichel and Riley Smith is included in the deal, I don't think that the Sabres would consider Riley Smith anything more than a salary clear on the part of Vegas. They would expect to probably get a player with term and a number 1 pick and a prospect.
All right, I can now report that the Doug Hamilton deal is done.
Okay.
With New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was just told.
All right.
We'll see.
I mean,
I'm not saying what I think.
No, but I
hope it's not
I feel very strongly about this, but it's done.
That's good. Well, I mean, look.
But I'm not promising anything.
At the end of the day,
throw this in. I'll do the Darren Dreger thing. Pending the trade call.
There you go. That's a good signing. Look, at the end of the day, it's a good signing for the Devils. That they need those points. They really do on the blue line, especially. They really need points on the blue line. So that's a big deal for them. He wants to be near New York. I think the reason he wants to be near New York, Ek, is because he's a pre-med guy.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to be a doctor post-hockey career, that is the place to be.
Yep. I really like that. I like that concept. I do.
By the way, the Leafs did sign Amadeo.
Amadeo.
Amadeus.
Amadeo.
We're not doing Falco songs here, but 1 year, 2-way deal, league minimum. So I think this is a Marley signing, Russ.
We did do a Rockology last night. People can go on SoundCloud.
I was so upset that you guys did it last night. I mean, you guys invited
Listen,
me.
we invited you. We did.
I appreciate you inviting me. You were one of the busiest possible nights of my day.
No, but we're gonna invite you on the next one. We're gonna do another.
We're gonna do a review of a Genesis album. Maybe this one.
No. We're gonna do the top 10 drummers. We're gonna invite you on.
That's right. Top 10 drummers. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
It can't be the drummer in your band.
It won't be. It won't be.
You can bring up anybody you want.
My band's guitarist was written up in Guitar Player Magazine as one of the best. I was legit with that. Okay.
I know.
My goodness. Forget it.
Don't worry.
Right.
This is why you have me around, Ek, to aggravate you.
I know. Oh, yeah. I need that, Mike. I need more people to aggravate me. That's not why I have you around. Trust me. There's other. Your cast. All right. All right. So here's the thing. Okay, right now, I think Phillip Danault is an interesting one to talk about for a second, and Foligno too. I think those are two players we can, because these are two players that I thought would go pretty quickly and haven't gone yet. All right, Danault obviously is trying to make his money off of his postseason.
Yeah,
he's pretending that the regular season didn't happen last year. Okay,
yeah,
so
he's priced himself out.
And he really has. And is it possible, Corinne, that Montreal says, "Come on," and we just figure something out?
Well, yeah, I think Marc Bergevin is still open. You know, he didn't have the same approach he did when it was Markov and Radulov's turn, when he said, "If you want loyalty, buy a dog." What he did say about Danault this year was, as long as he doesn't sign with anyone, there's still hope. He's keeping the door open, and he has to, because if you go into the season with your center line being Suzuki, Kotkaniemi, Evans, and Paquette, doesn't look great. Does it look better if you put Paling instead of Paquette and put Paquette on the wing? Not sure. So, he's not replaced Danault, and he doesn't really have a plan to replace him either. I mean, looking at the market, there's not that many good centers available. So,
I'm just looking. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, Corinne, there is a chance if the price gets low that the Rangers might move on that, because they do need a center.
Well, yeah, but I'm hoping that if no one is actually willing to give him the money he wants, he'll just circle back and be like, okay, I'll come back home.
Probably will.
But that's a big hoping. I think he's a bit fed up of being the French-Canadian guy of service as well. You know, the one who's always stuck talking to media and all that. Takes its toll. I mean, it's understandable. And he's 28, so it's only chances at a big payday. So I can get why you would want to get it.
Well,
so,
maybe if you're him, maybe you go for like a short deal. Maybe you go like a 2-year deal, because you can say if he's just starting to come into his own, I mean, he could just be a later developing player. If he continues his momentum from the playoff in the next year, maybe he's worth a little bit more.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, look at Taylor Hall. He's a good player, and he only got $6 million. And Danault wants to get $6 million.
I still think it's too much for Taylor Hall. I wouldn't have given him $6 million.
Yeah, maybe it's too much for him. But would you give that to a defensive centerman?
What if Danault did a 1-year deal, like a 1-year deal for $5.5 million or something like that? Like
he won't do a 1-year deal.
No,
just for the reasons Corinne said, he won't do that.
But right now he has no value, so I don't know why he wouldn't.
No, he has some value. He just doesn't have it when he's asking for like 5 point anything.
But I
think he's asking for 6 actually.
Yeah, he's like a low 4s tops, right? So
well, to be honest, I thought that the Pajot contract was a good comparable for him. Pajot signed for 6 years at $5 million or something like that. But
the only thing about Pajot is he's a much better skater than Danault. And so you
Better
could at
scorer,
least
too.
say, hey, Pajot can move the offense a lot better than Danault's got other things that's good about him.
Yeah.
But Pajot is a flashy skater compared to him.
Well, yeah, but the comparison between the two, I mean, both of them ended up being their team's first center by default. And both of them got about the same kind of results. So, I'm thinking that's the kind of money you should want. And if I'm Danault and there's an offer from Montreal on the table for like 6 years and $5 million, I think you should take it if no one's willing to give you what you want.
Well, you should have taken it the last time because clearly I don't think he's getting it this time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
That's where
I'd like him back, really.
That's where he should look at his agent and say, how did we get from there to here?
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think the Pajot comparisons are pointless. I honestly do. I really don't. I don't see them. I mean, there are similarities in that they're two or three defense. I mean, number two, like a middle six defenseman, a middle six center. My God, I'm losing my mind. Middle six center, but at the same point, Danault is way more defensive and Pajot is way more offensive.
Okay.
So,
then you could look at Eriksson Ek in Minnesota. He was their first line center, and he finished fourth in the Selke race. And he signed for, I can't remember how much, but it was.
He's got much more upside. He's a lot younger.
Well, yes, but he still didn't get that much.
I know what you're saying. I do.
Yeah. I mean, as for the Foligno thing, I think at the end of the day, I think Foligno's trying to drive the price up a little bit, but I do think he wants to play with his brother. I do think that's a legitimate thing. His brother has been really, really active about this. Like, has been
where's Marcus at? I forget.
In Minnesota. So
in Minnesota.
So I think that and
how much money do they have left?
What was that?
How much money does Minnesota have left?
They've got enough money to do that.
They do? Okay.
Told, yeah. So I think
they've got 24 million left apparently, according to Cap Friendly, and Eriksson Ek's contract is 5.25. So that's a good comparable for Danault as well.
Yeah, no, they've they've really done a pretty good job. I think
aside from Goligoski, that was a crazy thing.
Yeah, that is a good bit of a crazy signing. I do agree.
Yes.
But this is kind of Bill Guerin's thing, though. Bill Guerin has players that he definitely likes.
Yes.
That are usually connected to the Penguins when he played with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's his strength. Like, I get that. Yeah. But this is also years later.
The Flyers have signed Nate Thompson. Good Lord. Oh, my gosh. Just got this.
He was good in the bubble, Ek. That's all you need to know.
He really wasn't. Russ, watch those games again.
No, I know. They just like this toughness. I agree with you.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
He's hard to play against, Ek. There you go.
He's good at faceoffs.
He's good at faceoffs
and then get off the friggin' ice. No, he's slow. He's very, very slow.
All this means now is nobody from Lehigh has a chance to play 4C this year because now they have Nate Thompson. That's the unfortunate part.
That is the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
Gosh. This is really a player that I did not want them to bring back, but that's okay.
This is 2 years later. Like, it's,
I know. I was like last year when I watched him play for Winnipeg, I saw the same issues. Like, and Winnipeg had no desire at all to bring him back at all, none. But I mean, I'm not saying. Listen, he's a good guy, and I just don't know if he can.
Well, you know why they could bring. You're not gonna like this, Zach, but they could bring in Nate Thompson because of the money they saved on goaltending.
Yeah. No, I know. No, it's true. I mean, and I'm fine with. I told you, I'm fine with Martin Jones.
Okay, just clip that. Somebody please clip that so we could go back and look at that later.
Yeah. No, we'll see. No, I mean the Flyers. I think they've done a very good job, and
I don't know. I mean, they've done a good job of making sure they spend to the cap. Beyond that, we'll see.
Yeah,
I think getting Ellis was a very good move.
No, Ellis is a good move. I think Ristolainen's a little risky, and they gave up a lot to risk that.
But it's so hard to evaluate a player that's playing with Buffalo. I mean,
but what I'm saying is, for what they gave up, the fact that they have no term on him beyond this season, if he has a good year for them, there's no guarantee he signs with them.
Did you mention the Nate Thompson resign?
Yeah, we just did.
Oh, yes, we did, Mike. We did.
Ek was so happy.
We had a nice little talk about it.
Tucker Poolman, $2.5 million for 4 years with Vancouver.
He's pretty good. I'm going to go get lunch for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
Oh, looks like an 8-year extension for Braden Point with the
Braden Point,
Lightning.
8 years. There you go.
Yeah.
That's got to be a lot of money. How much is he getting? Did we see it?
It's not written yet. Kevin Weeks is reporting it.
If I had to guess, I would say it's probably 9.
Wow.
That's a guess.
Yeah.
I don't have the inside track like Kevin does.
I'm texting somebody right now to see if I can get anything from that.
So, Ek, you were not happy with the Nate Thompson signing?
No. Nope. Too slow. I mean, I a great guy, great teammate, all that stuff. If he hears me say this, he'll probably beat the crap out of me. But when he sees me in the dressing room, whatever. But I just completely.
He won't be able to touch you.
Yes, sir. He won't be able to touch me, right, because of COVID. But no, he. So I can say that I do think he's.
Be able to catch you if he's so.
I do think he's too slow, and I think he is. He does tend to just. I don't know. He's just his time has passed.
Well, let's just say the amount that they're paying him is underneath the variable threshold. So if he is too slow, then they send him down to Lehigh Valley and he goes through waivers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's true, and but I would rather, like Russ said, I would rather them try to give somebody
fast
somebody down in in Lehigh a shot at this, like at the fourth center. The Flyers are win now, for sure. All right, so right now we have, according to Cap Friendly, with 41 contracts that have been added in the first hour of free agency, 97 total contract years, $299 million in contract dollars. So there you go.
I have that in spare change.
Right.
I don't like the fact that Montreal hasn't signed Corey Perry yet either, because he was a big big leadership for them, and with losing Weber, they need to retain him.
They really do. Is Schwartz official yet? Have we seen that?
No. Neither is Brandon Saad.
Neither is Brandon Saad, yeah. Schwartz is a little surprising because I wonder what's going on there. I mean, it really felt like, the only thing I can say with Schwartz is Seattle was the team that everybody expected him to go to for sure, but there was definitely also a late pitch from Colorado.
Yeah, but that was dependent on Landeskog going someplace else,
or it could have been dependent on Grubauer going someplace else too. And with Grubauer right now, still not official yet either. Although if I'm Grubauer, I'm signing pretty soon because
if I'm Colorado, if I'm worried about whether I can get Grubauer signed, I'm talking to Arizona about Kemper.
Yeah. I mean, is Grubauer that much better than Kemper? Really? I mean,
I think Kemper's better than Grubauer.
Yeah, I mean that a lot of people. Grubauer definitely has his detractors. I mean, for a Vezina finalist last year, he definitely has his detractors. Do we think that Marc-Andre Fleury will report to Chicago?
That's a hard one to predict. I think he's really torn up because he told Vegas, I don't want to go elsewhere. I don't want to play elsewhere. So I don't know. But at the same time, if he goes to Chicago and he beats Vegas when he plays them, he'll be very happy. So
I do. Maybe. I think he's going to go there. I think he will go. I think he's too much of a competitor. And you just won the Vezina. You're not going to retire right now. I mean,
yeah.
Now I'm not saying he might not. He might push Colorado, to try to keep half of his salary and move him on to Pittsburgh. I think that's possible, but
I was told by somebody who we both know from the Pittsburgh market that is not the case at this point. That they are not pursuing Fleury.
Are they not pursuing Fleury at full price, or that's the question I'd have for that, because I think I know they've said very clearly they can't take on Fleury's salary, but could they take on half of his salary? That's something I don't know. I would like to ask that person that question.
I mean, the reasons why that Chicago acquired Fleury. That goaltending was They had Lankinen last year, who played surprisingly well for them, but with the moves that they've made, adding Seth Jones, adding Tyler Johnson, they want to make the playoffs, and they need a goalie. So
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to pay $3.5 million to send him to Pittsburgh when they need the goalie. So, and I don't think Tristan Jarry or something like that is going to work for them. So,
yeah.
I don't know if he's going. I don't know if it's going to end up with him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, it really it depends on some. There's so many different things in that equation. I think that, gosh, it is pretty astonishing. And I mean, Chicago, if Taves is healthy and ready to go, and they add Suter, they're a playoff team. I mean, they're a playoff team with Fleury, and they are definitely a playoff team.
If they had Suter.
No, Suter. I'm losing my mind.
You talking about Pius Suter, or
they've added Seth Jones. I meant to say they've added Jones. Taves is basically an addition because they wasn't there. Fleury, those three additions that pushes you into playoff realm to me. They're three of the best players in the league. I mean, at their positions, if they're all going well.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying, Eck, but right now, I don't know. It looks like we're still going to guess if Fleury is going to show up in Chicago. It's not a guarantee he's showing up there.
Yeah, we don't know. Freddie Gaudreau is signed with the Wild.
Not Barclay Gaudreau.
Freddie Gaudreau.
No, this is Freddie Gaudreau. That's Peter Laviolette's guy from a few years ago that he's still kicking around.
2 years, $2.4 million, so 1.2 per.
And to take with a grain of salt, but Georges Larac reports that the Abs are back in the Danault derby.
There you go. I'm not surprised. Like I said, I mean, I think that's why I brought it up, because I got a text from somebody who said they heard the same thing, and I wasn't sure whether whether I could really trust that person or not, because it's not a person who was super connected to Montreal. So I wanted to wait and see. But yeah, I'm not surprised. And I mean, it's the best place for him to go, honestly.
You got to remember, with the divisions changing, some of these teams are not going to make the playoffs. Like Pittsburgh, I don't think is making the playoffs.
And we welcome Dan Petru to the show.
Hey, guys.
Dan Petru.
Oh.
Hey,
How are you, bud?
How are we doing?
We're exhausted. It's been an exhausting hour and 20, almost 2 hours right now. It's been fast and furious.
I'm invigorated. This is fascinating. I love this shit.
I like it too, but I think I need to get like a soda or something. So Dan, we got like
take a boost. Come on.
I know I will. I just want to ask Dan one question first. So they have what are your thoughts on the Islanders' approach so far? I mean, it's kind of quiet right now, but it feels like there's something coming.
Are you surprised that it's quiet though?
No, because it's Lou.
Yeah, I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
I think the work they did up to the draft to somehow get a team to take Ladd without giving up a first-round pick, I thought that was a win. Moving on from Leddy to save money also was a win. There is definitely something brewing there. I just no one knows what it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that Palmieri has not been announced yet because everybody says it's done.
Right.
Dan, is there a genuine concern about Sakic, about them losing him?
No, I don't think so. I love Casey Sakic, but if he wants $5 million a year, they can eat him. Bye. I mean, seriously, he's on the wrong side of his. He's on the wrong side of his career. If he wants to stay, he's going to have to get a team-friendly deal, which is probably around 3 to 3.5 a year. There are other options out there for fourth-line centers. As much as I love Sakic, look, he'll be in the Islanders Hall of Fame so as soon as he retires. I love the guy to death, but business is business, and $5 million a year, which is reported what he was asking for. Now we know it's just a negotiation. That's absurd. So I don't see that happening.
Now, the other one is they've been connected to Parise for a while. I would almost be disappointed if they didn't sign him because it's just been out there for so long. What do you think? What do you think if they do bring him in of that addition?
He's not my first choice, but I still think he could play on a friendly deal if if it's under 1.5 a year, then that's fine. I think you can put him on the third line with Pajot and Wallstrom, and I think you'd have something there. So, look, like I said, not my first choice, but if they bring him in, that's fine. And everything, his last name means to the Islanders organization. I would love to see him there. He was one of my favorite players when I was younger, so I definitely would love to see him play for the Islanders. But I'm not going to cry if he goes somewhere else. I do think he would be a good fit on the third line, though.
Yeah. The only other thing Islander wise, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen because the offer sheets never happen. And I believe he's arbitration eligible. So if they offered the qualifying offer, then offer sheet is off the table. With Beauvillier, what do you think the amount comes in on him on a new deal?
I think he's probably around $3 million a year. And that is someone I think they could, if there's a big fish out there and they're able to go after one of those said big fishes in a trade, I think that's someone's name who could be dangled. As much as I love Beauvillier, he's inconsistent. If he could put a full season together, he'd easily be a 30-goal scorer. But he's very, very streaky. I would think he's probably going to be between 3 and 3.5 a year. He's a nice player. Look, he's a nice player, but if I can upgrade that position, I would.
Russ, stop the presses. The Vegas Golden Knights have signed Sven Barchi.
Ooh.
He's again. If this is filler for the Eichel deal, Buffalo should be shot. No. I mean, honestly, this is why they're signing guys so they could say they got a 5-player trade. It's dumb.
I don't think they have the pieces to get Jack Eichel if Buffalo was run by normal human.
Yes.
I mean, they shouldn't even want to. At this point, they're so over leveraged. It's crazy, and Eichel would just be the coup de grace for that.
Now Barchi could be a signing for the AHL. It was a 2-way deal. It's league minimum, so that's fine. That's a 1-year contract, but yeah, I mean, he's collected all the money he's going to collect on his last deal with Vancouver, so I don't think he's ever going to get that kind of deal again. Just looking, Dan, at some of the teams in the Islanders division, are you impressed with what the Flyers have done in terms of adding the 2 right-hand shot defensemen in Ellis and Ristolainen, now bringing in Martin Jones as the backup for Carter Hart? Does this send chills down your spine?
Yeah, actually it does. If I'm an Islanders fan, I'm quite happy with the moves the Flyers have made so far. I saw Ristolainen try and defend Barzal last year in the goal of the year, so he's going to be doing that 8 times this year. Perfectly fine with me. I do not like Marty Jones at this point in his career. I think Elliott's a better option. Hart, a lot of pressure on Hart this year to get his game back together. I like Ellis. I think Ellis is a good player. Obviously, he's had some injury issues. And also, I think of all their acquisitions, I think Atkinson's the best deal. That's just a trade that it was a really nice trade by them. They saved some money, and I think they get a better player.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I still don't think they're there.
I mean, they're better than they were last year. I don't know if they're there either. I guess that'll be up to Carter Hart and what's in front of him.
Right. If Hart plays like 2 years, if he plays like he did 2 years ago, they're easily a playoff team.
But again, we have to look at this division fairly, Dan, and say, all right, I guess Pittsburgh, we could say, has fallen out of it. So we'll push Pittsburgh aside.
Every time we do that, they win the division, though.
I know.
I wouldn't say
I'm
Pittsburgh.
just saying.
I don't think you can say Pittsburgh.
No, but there are teams that are not going to make it in the Metro. There are.
Oh, I know there are, but I don't. I would.
So tell me who's not going to make it in the Metro, then.
I think I would put Washington out of it before I put Pittsburgh out of it.
Okay. To me, that's a tough one, but okay. I'm not sure the Rangers are making the playoffs. I'll be fair.
I'm not either. Yeah,
I don't think they, so it's going to be some combination of those 3 teams.
I think the Islanders are a playoff team right now.
The Islanders are a playoff team.
I think the Rangers are a playoff team, and I think the Islanders are a playoff team, and I think the Penguins are a playoff team, and I think the Flyers are possible.
I'm not so sure. I'm not sure about the Rangers yet.
Me neither.
And look, things could go south for Carolina too. I mean, right now we don't know who's running their power play. We're assuming Freddie will be really good this year, at least in the regular season. But if they have some hiccups, you can't say that they're definite. I wouldn't say they're definite yet until I see everything playing the way they're supposed to play, because they're losing 70 points on the blue line. Tony DeAngelo is only going to make back just so many of those.
Right, I'm out, guys. Time to go back to the real job. So speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks, appreciate it. Don't ever call this not your real job.
My basic point is,
Tony doesn't want you to check the stats. The numbers are the numbers he tells you.
I know.
And there's no reason to.
He also doesn't want you. He also doesn't want you to check his Twitter timeline either, Dan.
No, Parlor. He's on Parlor.
Will he be mad if the goalie wears a mask?
I mean, he's on Parlor, not Twitter anymore. But the idea is this:
there is no Parlor anymore, Russ.
Oh, they're done?
Google took care of that.
Oh, okay. But all right. So here's the thing, though. We have to look at the Metro and say, now that teams are back in there are teams that aren't making the playoffs. We also have to look at these other divisions, and just because teams are making moves doesn't mean they're all playoff teams. They can't all be playoff teams.
No, of course not.
Our resident Islanders fan, NL King on Twitter,
is a couple of them.
Yes, is asking me to ask Dan about the Islanders needing to get a D and what he thinks of Ian Cole.
I don't love Ian Cole. I don't think he's bad. I think he would be fine. The defense, they definitely have to get a defenseman, and it's probably going to have to be via trade. Cole is okay. I guess, like I said.
Yeah, Cole wouldn't hurt him. Yeah,
I don't think Cole would hurt him. I think honestly, this is going to be weird. And this will sound weird to Islander fans. If the Blackhawks would eat a considerable size of the money or would take Komarov back, I would take Calvin DeHaan back for 1 year.
Okay.
That's not crazy.
Now,
he played his best hockey with the Islanders. When he's healthy, he is.
But he does have back issues, right? That's his thing.
Right. That's the problem. I would need to look at those medicals first.
And talk about crazy. There were rumors last night of the Islanders being tied to Nate Schmidt, and after trading Leddy to clear the $5.5 million,
that didn't make sense.
Yeah,
no, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
I know he played with Trotz. It doesn't make sense.
Nope. Unless whoever was Vancouver trade, unless Vancouver was taking salary back, that didn't make any sense.
Right.
Listen, if I'm Andy Green, I'm hanging around waiting for a call, because if the Islanders don't have a solution,
they resigned Green.
Oh, they already resigned it.
Yeah, they got a 1 year league minimum. So they definitely need to find a defense. I mean, they have some internal options as well if these kids are ready. So,
but there's some guys like Lou will just keep signing Andy Green until he can't walk anymore. Like, he really will.
I do think Robin Salo could make a push to make the roster out of training camp.
I think there's a chance for Robin Salo. I mean, if you're looking at him strictly as a defensive defenseman, I think there's a chance. Yes.
Russ, who is Andy Green is the Tommy Albaline of the Islanders.
He's the Tommy Albaline. That's.
But you know what? He's durable, even at his age. He's still durable, and he works in limited minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there'll be a year he doesn't, but he's always low cost, so it doesn't really matter.
I just talked to somebody about something that's kind of interesting. This is the question is this: what are the Bruins doing? Like the Bruins have a lot.
They signed Derek Forbert for $3 million a year. That's what they're doing.
They've still got like $15 million in cap space.
Well, they have to sign. Did they sign Krejci yet? What was the amount?
No. I mean,
they haven't signed him yet.
So that's part of it. That's a part of it.
If they're going to, I mean, I wasn't convinced 100% that they were going to sign Krejci.
They're signing him. They're signing him.
And they're going to sign Rask. Okay, so they have. But they still have.
Well, wait. They may not sign Rask.
They're not going to sign Rask yet. I disagree with that.
They may not sign Rask until Rask is close to being healthy. They may sign Rask in the middle of the season.
They may keep that money aside.
Right, but in the meantime, there is still they are a team that does not sit around and do nothing.
No, but they didn't do nothing. They picked up Derek Forbert. You're not listening to me.
I heard you.
They're not getting Eichel.
Oh, I know they're not getting Eichel. There's no way they're getting Eichel. I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
I do tie the the fact that you're not getting we're not hearing anything out of LA and Anaheim to Eichel, though. I think that is definitely the case, that LA and Anaheim are both. And I think, and I can't help but think that Vegas is gearing up for Eichel.
It's very
all right, but getting off that for just a second. Funky brings up a good point. Not that the Islanders can sign Chara, but is anybody going to sign Chara?
I think that's up to him, from what I understand. From what I understand, Chara is basically deciding what he wants to do, and his agent. Matt
Hey, let's
Cater.
go full circle. Let's go full circle with Chara.
Let's bring him back.
Only if he wears the Gorton's fisherman jersey, then it makes sense.
Okay.
I saw his first game ever as an Islander in the preseason.
He'd be the biggest
Spectrum. All right, check this out. In the Spectrum.
Wow.
In the preseason, I was 2 rows from the ice, and he skates out on the ice, wearing some weird number, and I'm like, what the hell is that? It was like this gigantic giraffe guy. He was really awkward, and I'm like, he'll never make it in the NHL. I really felt that.
He'd be the biggest fish stick in the world.
Listen, many felt that way because he couldn't skate. It took him a long time to figure out how to skate.
Oh yeah, it was crazy to watch him. Like he looked so unbelievably awkward. I mean, I always thought Shell Samuelson looked awkward, but he made Shell Samuelson look smooth. It was like, and I was, geez, that's crazy. I
want to see you tell Shell that he looked awkward. Let's go tell him that in the press box. I want to see how he reacts.
I know Shell. I played open hockey with Shell. Shell's beat me up a couple times. So yeah. I've been pushed around by him enough to know.
Can we hire him to do it some more?
He is not awkward at all. He's a very nice man.
He's a nice man. He's a great guy. I had great conversations with Shell.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see Chara back in Ottawa. Talk about weird. That would be weird.
I don't think he would do it.
I don't think he would do it either.
Although apparently he owns some businesses in Ottawa. So.
Whatever, but I don't think he would do it.
Everybody owns businesses in Ottawa, Mike. So I'm surprised. Danny, your take on the Flyers. I actually am a lot happier with them than you are. And I think that I'll say the one thing I will say about the Flyers, and this is the thing that the fan in me here feels like this is an Ed Snyder type off season, which makes me happy. Like because I grew up with this.
Only because you grew up with that. But
I grew up with always going for it. Like,
well, let's be realistic about it. Let's be realistic. And
realistic got us nowhere, Russ.
And they're having the conference call.
Atkinson, good move.
Yeah.
Ellis is fine. Ellis is a good. I have no problem with Ellis, especially if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, also a good move.
Yeah.
I don't love Jones, and I think Ristolainen is a disaster.
Okay, I'll even measure it out a little differently.
Yandle's a cheap, great move.
Yeah, Yandle's a good cheap signing.
Yandle's a good cheap signing.
And AV will put him on the top power play because it's AV, and that's fine. The way I look at things, though, is so their penalty kills improved, and their defense is improved. Where's all the scoring coming from, Eck? I mean, I know they wanted to change the culture, so you lost Voracek. That's fine. Atkinson doesn't make up the points for Voracek. Giroux's points are slipping every year. Where's the offense actually coming from?
Nate Thompson, come on. It's Nate Thompson.
I honestly think you're going to get more offense from your defense for sure.
I mean, get a little bit.
And I also do believe in Farabee and Konechny. And I think Konechny had
a horrible year.
He had a horrible year last year, but I think at the end of the day he will be fine.
Hold it right there. I think there's a chance he's not fitting in AV's system. I think you have to look at that.
That's possible. I also do really believe in Morgan Frost a lot, and I think that and I'm also.
But there's no room for him this year. He's not going to play.
He's going to play. They're going to find room for him.
When's he get? Tell me where he's going to play.
They will find room for him. I've been told there. I talked to somebody he's definitely in the top 4 lines. I don't know where. I don't know what that means.
I don't know if that's happening yet. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think Nate Thompson changes that. I think at the end,
he's the 4C. Like that's it.
No, he could be the 4C or it could be the 5C at times too. You could see.
No, he's going to be their 4C because this
could be there.
You forget. You're not using logic. This is Alain Vigneault. If he has a chance to use a grizzled veteran,
that's a good sentence right there. But go ahead.
If he has a chance to use a grizzled veteran at 4C who's not going to score any points, but will play truculent hockey, and he doesn't have to worry about him. Or you could bring in Morgan Frost, who might score 50 points, and he might have a turnover once in a while. He's going to go with Nate Thompson. That's the reality.
Okay.
This is all right. You tell me where Alain Vigneault is going to roll the dice.
I am not. I can't stand Alain Vigneault. So you're tripping on me. You're screwing with me now, right?
Well, I remember Nate Thompson trying to play against the Islanders 2 years ago, and it was a disaster.
Thank you. Russ said he was good in the bubble. I said, Russ, watch those games again.
That's their take
in the bubble.
I said it to get you going. That was their take. He was good in the bubble.
The Coyotes are closing in on Carter Hutton. Just going out there. It's the truth. I can hear Mike laughing from 3 rooms away. They are though. They're going to get him. They're going to get Carter Hutton.
For the
It's going to be a Coyote.
Can we talk about the Flames for a second?
Well, actually, no. I want to make one Coyote joke.
Okay.
That's like a coyote finding only one thing in the desert that it could eat.
That's like Wile E. Coyote.
That's it.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Russ. There's surely some jackrabbits in the desert. Go eat that.
If that's all that's left in the desert, I could see them going with Carter Hutton.
They are. It's done, Russ. It's done.
It's done.
All right,
Can we
done.
talk about the Flames, though? Because I just don't know what the Flames are doing.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're doing either.
Are they rebuilding? Like Gaudreau's going to leave. Monahan's been a mess. Kachuk is not happy. It's like this team is an absolute disaster.
I mean, they have the wrong coach. Let's start there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you weren't going to turn the page, and all of a sudden it was just going to be this magic that was going to get the Flames going, right? So there's that. You have the wrong coach. I don't think the GM's been terribly good for the last 3 years now. I'm surprised he still has a job. That team strikes me as not only not a playoff team, but a team that will be stripping down at some point because they won't have a choice.
Is this Gaudreau's last year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been moved. I know New Jersey has interest in him. New Jersey has interest in a lot of people I know, but I know they have interest in him. I don't think the Flyers do at all.
I don't think we would be calling for Gaudreau.
There's no room for him.
Yeah, there's no room for him. But I'm going to say, Russ, I think that you're forgetting that the Flyers. I just think last year was a weird year for the Flyers. I'm not saying I agree with
that last year. Last year didn't exist. I'm talking about the guys on paper now.
The guys on paper now. We'll see.
Wow, that's a big vote of confidence, Zach.
No,
that's a ringing endorsement.
I honestly think that it comes down to Farabee was awesome last year. No question about it, right?
Yes.
Konechny has that ability as well. And now you're right with Vigneault's system that you have me on a checkmate there. I don't know how to go with that, but yeah, maybe. But let's just hope for some reason that Konechny, because Konechny was with Vigneault before. No. No, but Morgan Frost looked really good. The little bit of time he spent before he got hurt.
How many points are you putting Claude Giroux down for? How many goals? How many points?
This is another thing. I think Claude Giroux will benefit from not having Jake around anymore. I think that was I felt like whenever I was around that situation that those two kind of fed off of each other's negativity. I think
to what degree? How many points?
Giroux and throwing pucks to Atkinson on the power play could be pretty good.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say he's like a 65-point guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
In that range, okay, which is not great, but that's
but that's fine. I think that's realistic.
$750,000 for Carter Hutton.
League minimum.
League minimum.
Somebody actually had the temerity to say that Carter Hutton could be the number one if they trade Kemper.
Well, they might not have a goalie.
Did you spill lunch on your trick of the tail shirt? What happened there?
No. People were commenting they looked like a bus wearing a yellow shirt. So I just.
So you put on the Yankees and you look like a bus. Now.
Yeah, so you're basically
never listen to people. Ian Cole is signing in Carolina, folks. I just got that. $3 million.
How many defensemen is Carolina signing?
$3 million.
We're going to play him on left wing, Russ. By the way, okay, two ex-Leaf signings. Greg McKegg re-ups with the Rangers, $750K.
Oh, the Rangers got McKegg back. They're happy.
Yeah.
And sandpaper.
And Josh Levo signs with Carolina, $750K. That's actually a pretty decent signing. I think Levo's
that is a pretty good signing. Yeah.
Yeah, the Levo signing's good. There's some offense there.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, are you concerned that the Rangers are overreacting about how everybody says that they're soft in the bottom six and getting pushed around?
Yeah. I basically said, Dan, if they get one or two more hard to play against sandpaper guys, they will not be able to score any goals anymore.
Come on, right. Dan, they added some much needed skill in Jared Tenorti.
Like Barclay Goodrow is good, but how many goals do you think he's getting in the regular season? Like
7?
Yeah. 10?
15.
Yeah.
Okay. Kakko is the one who has to be concerning people because if he doesn't come through now without Buchnevich, where are these points coming from? Where are you getting 25 goals from?
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I'll give
there's a lot of
Lafreniere
questions.
20.
There's definitely a lot of questions there.
There's a lot of questions. I'll give Lafreniere 20. That's fine, but
yeah, no, I think he's gonna
have signed Michael Del Zotto.
Oh,
Who?
Jesus.
Yep, Del Zotto.
Who signed him?
Ottawa.
Okay.
To a 2-year contract.
Wow.
Del Zotto is a survivor, man. He's
in great shape and he's still fast. That's why
he
gets
has moments where he just looks really, really good. Like there are certain plays that Del Zotto will make that you're just like, wow, what the heck, you know? And last year he was really good with Columbus, right?
And then it was with Columbus, who's their 7th defenseman. And then there are certain giveaways he makes in the defensive zone. You're just like, wow.
And he's a really good DJ too.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of talk right now. And this is, I just got this text that Grubauer could be headed to Seattle.
Okay. Then why did you bother with Dreger on that deal, which seemed like a really good deal? Why did you do that then?
Nobody can answer that.
Mike, this will be too.
Because Ron Francis is in charge, and he's not a good GM.
I don't want to say that yet, but I mean,
I'm going to throw this out there.
He was a jerk to me
could
multiple
be
times when I was a kid. Screw Ron Francis.
All right, this is going back to your Hartford days. Get out of here, man.
Yes, he was a jerk multiple times to me as a kid.
I know you hate Ron Francis. I forgot about that.
Every Whaler fan in the world knows that Kevin Dineen is the heart and soul of the Hartford Whalers franchise. And
yes, everybody loves Kevin Dineen.
Wait, I'm almost done. And screw that compiler, Ron Francis.
Dan was traumatized by the beard of Blaine Stoughton.
Hey, Blaine Stoughton had some good years.
I know he did. 56
Mike Johnson
goals.
too. Yeah.
The dump truck possessed by the spirit of William Taft.
I mean, I don't know
this is crazy.
Mark Messier told me to go F myself twice.
Wow.
Is that really a shock?
I was 11 and I was 13 each time.
You were 11?
What did you say to Mark Messier to get him to say that?
Can I have your autograph, please?
I bet Mark Messier doesn't remember that.
Wow.
Can I have, Dan's leaving out something. He said, "Can I have your autograph, Baldy?"
Let's talk about Grubauer to Seattle for a second. Is Grubauer to Seattle? I'm getting loopy. Is Grubauer to Seattle possibly a negotiation tactic? Because we are looking at this.
It has to be. Like, why would he do it?
He's going to sign with an expansion team over a team that has a legitimate chance to make the Stanley Cup over $500,000.
Because what's happened is, really Sakic has won the chess game with Grubauer. Like he by continuing to negotiate him while every other goalie signed every other team.
About it.
He has totally won this war. Like Grubauer doesn't have where. So this is a smart move by his agent to do this. Like his agent's going to say, and this could be. I'm going to throw this out there. Even Francis even doing his agent a favor. Like this is the kind of thing that you can say. Like he's going to say, well, yeah, sure, we'll say we're talking to him. We're not going to really sign him.
You know what? It's really Joe Sakic's inaction that's saving him here because he's never fast on anything.
That is so true, and that is my least. Like I've had so many when I was, we used to work in the real sector of jobs and like that. I had so many managers over the years that succeeded by doing nothing. Right. That it always would frustrate the hell out of me. There's a concept of you just do nothing, and then the people around will just make it work because they have to, and and this is
you
that
work
you're
at
right.
too? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you that Larry Brooks said this, and I guess we have to believe that it could happen. That I think the way I phrased it was the fair way, Dan. But if Grubauer goes to Seattle, then maybe Vanacek does go back to Washington.
Maybe.
Yeah. Right.
There's some sense to that.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yes.
I thought you weren't allowed to do that.
Yes. No. He
here's a question. Here's a question. Could Vanacek...
He could be traded. Wait, can it be traded?
Yeah, he can be traded back. They just can't retain salary.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Could Vanacek, the kid, who did Seattle draft second overall? I'm blanking.
Oh,
Matty
Beniers.
Right. Could him, Vanacek, and maybe a couple other pieces go to Buffalo?
No.
Okay.
No, they would never do that.
No.
Francis doesn't want to put $10 million on the books for however many years. He wants to have cap flexibility. He won't do that.
Right, because he doesn't want to win.
No, I mean, honestly, Dan,
but you really want to make a splash?
Listen, I know you're a big Eichel guy, but right now, today, we don't know where he's at. I think there's a chance he's going to I think there's a good chance he's going to start the season just by rehabbing and see how that goes. Because if he doesn't get operated on soon, he's not coming back for 4 months anyhow. So
right, you obviously have to see his medicals. Yes.
Right, and from what I understand, his medical situation is being controlled by his agent and not by the Sabres. Basically, essentially, every time somebody contacts the Sabres to find out what's going on with Eichel, they refer him to Peter Fish. And Peter Fish is the one who says, okay, here are his medicals.
Right.
So they're controlling the agenda right now. Now, the Sabres, they have to determine who they want to make the trade with based on, what kind of package is coming back. I don't think – I agree with Russ. I don't think he's getting traded until probably the deadline or maybe even next offseason before the no-move clause kicks in.
Will he play this year, though?
He has to.
Will he play Buffalo?
I think he would. But clearly he wants out. But I think, the reality here is Buffalo controls the cards in the situation. And it's not going to be that. That's not going to be the case next July when he can pick and choose where he wants to go. But right now they control the agenda. $2.9 million for 1 year for Ian Cole.
Who signed him?
Carolina.
Yeah,
that's a good signing. That's a good signing.
I mean, but Carolina has really just taken.
They had 12 defensemen, but it's a good signing.
They've given up on their young defensemen.
Okay.
Onto older defensemen.
This is Rod Brindamore.
I think you're right about that. I was told flat out that the goalie they left, the goalie they traded out of Carolina, that was all Rod Brindamore.
Pierre LeBrun is hearing that the Kraken are close to signing Grubauer.
Wow. Good Lord.
Again, close. It's going to happen. Nobody's saying imminent, so whatever.
All right, Mike, that's two.
Moving on.
Okay. Right.
Two, which Schwartz still has not been mentioned. Right. I just bet that they would make 3 significant signings today with Mike. Seattle would.
Yes.
Hey, you know a guy I was thinking about? Let me look. A guy who's a little bit under the radar, but has had some good productive years, not necessarily last year, but he's been pretty good with Montreal. What about Tatar? He could be a good fit for somebody.
Tatar will be a good fit somewhere.
I was actually thinking him maybe on the Islanders would be a good fit.
I mean, look, he could still get you 60 points. Exactly. I do want to say this to Eck. Right now, the cap hit for Seattle's at 54. They have to be at 61.2. That's when they're stopping on the day. However they get there, that's when they're doing. They're going to reach the cap minimum, and that's it.
It might be an either-or act. They either sign Grubauer or they sign Schwartz, not both.
Correct.
That's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking one team will get one and one team will get the other.
All right, but let's bring this up because Funky said it. Just because Tatar was benched in the playoffs doesn't mean he's not a good player. I mean, again, I think Ducharme did a lot of crazy things as a coach that some worked out, some didn't. Some were lucky that they worked out. Thomas Tatar doesn't play great defense. I get that, but Thomas Tatar can score in this league. That's a definite. So what Dan is saying is true. If all of a sudden you could get him on a cheap deal, he could bring you some points.
The Blackhawks signed Jujhar Khaira. I love saying that name.
That's
2 years. It's a good name. 2 years, $975K per. Jeremy.
Let's talk about how this could play out for a second.
Yep.
Edmonton's still trying to get a deal with Arizona to get. Because I just texted and they said yes. So they're still trying. They're still trying to get Kemper. Okay, they're still trying to get Kemper out of Edmonton's. Still trying to get Kemper out of Arizona. If Colorado loses Grubauer, they'll get Kemper out of Arizona. They'll have to because they have there's nobody else out there for them. Omar's going back to Buffalo.
Well,
there's a reason Buffalo hasn't announced it yet. I was told there's something else going on there. But he's going back.
Hold on. We're talking about Buffalo. What could be going on in Buffalo right now?
Whoa!
It's probably something with the Bills and training camp.
No, it's not, and it's not COVID related. Okay. I need to confirm this before I say it out loud. Hold on.
All right.
Continue.
It's not Trevor Story to the Yankees, so forget it.
No, it's not.
We don't know. We don't want that.
Okay. The Ottawa Senators are insane.
What would they do?
Well, Michael Del Zotto.
You got that.
2 years,
Yep.
$4 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
4
They just want a
million.
veteran. They want a veteran guy in there with their younger guys.
Holy shnikes.
Well, what did they pay the other guy who was doing broadcasts and playing defense part time? Remember?
Carter Hutton?
No, for Ottawa.
Oh, you mean the defenseman Barbieski?
Yeah, what were they paying him? He wasn't worth much.
No, he was making veteran minimum, but then he went to Nashville and got $2 million.
Yeah.
Wow. That okay.
I think this is a terrible move by Seattle if they sign Grubauer. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
But they haven't signed him, so I'm not talking about it. I'm not
I
talking
don't
about
think
it until it's signed.
I don't think Seattle's a playoff team either.
No way.
More former Leaf news. Nick Patan to the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, I told you his family has an Italian restaurant in Vancouver, so
That's
now
good
he's
selling
close
point.
to that. The thing about the Kraken is, though, the one thing in their favor is if that division stinks, they'll be close. They'll be close to being a playoff team and maybe not be one. So to keep the fans interested.
Brock McGinn signs with the Penguins.
As of now, I'm
That's
telling you
signing.
that only the Arizona Coyotes will score less goals than the Seattle Kraken. As of
Right,
now,
they'll score less goals than everybody. I think that's
yeah, but Seattle Kraken will score less goals than the Buffalo Sabres.
I was gonna say
They will.
No, the Sabres will be in that race too.
yes.
They'll be in that race, but that won't be.
Well, there's no Reinhart. We don't know where Eichel's at. Like, where are all these goals coming from for Buffalo?
Their number one center,
They scored under Granato. They scored quite a bit.
right? But that was with Reinhart.
And
Reinhart was there. Yeah.
Reinhart was the leading goal scorer.
Dylan Cousins. Casey Middlestat.
Right. Their number one center is Middlestat. Their number two center is Cousins or vice versa.
Yep.
Chase DeLeo
Cousins-
was going to the Devils.
Isn't that the guitar player from Stone Temple Pilots?
Yeah. I'm really upset. I've been working the Chase DeLeo angle for 3 straight weeks, but yeah, Darren Dreger broke it. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
In the chat room, they're saying that it's done with Grubauer in Seattle, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. So
I haven't seen it yet either. Where would they be getting that from?
I don't know. Ask
Hold
them.
on. Actually, I'm getting a text right now.
There you go. Believe it to be a 6-year deal with Grubauer in Seattle if the deal gets finalized, Pierre LeBrun.
So it's not finalized yet.
Wow, this is a crazy, crazy day.
It's not finalized yet.
Brock McGinn, $2.75 million for 4 years with the Penguins.
That's a good sign.
This tells me right now
That's a
that
Brandon
Sakic
Tanev
doesn't
replacement.
like Grubauer, and is perfectly fine with Kemper. Like you said, Mike, you said that you think Kemper's better than Grubauer. I don't.
Kemper's better than Grubauer. Yes.
I think Kemper's better than Grubauer too.
I don't know. I'm not.
It's close.
But even with a team like Colorado, all it has to do is be close because they're so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're right.
You're right.
Perfectly fine in Colorado.
Well, yeah, you need a goalie who's not going to lose games for you, right? So that's like at the end of the day, I mean, they could trade for Varley. They could get Varlamov back, and Colorado
Sure, I'll take
too.
the car.
I want to talk to you about that goalie situation, Dan, because I really.
Of course you do. Yes.
Because you know me, I am 100% Sorokin.
Well, now he's coming off the Vezina year, and
I know, but I'm doubling down, saying he's going to win the Vezina the next 2 seasons after this one.
The next 2.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. I mean, he'll win it this season and the next one as well.
All right, Pagnata's confirming Grubauer. I'll give it to him.
Holy hell, man.
Look, I love Sorokin. I do. I don't know if I have him penciled in as a Vezina finalist yet. But I just think the combination of the two of them is just complete, stability. You can go with them.
6x5.9. Sorry about that. So never
That's
reserving the
a
rest.
lot.
6x5. Basically, not quite. He wanted 6x6. He got 6x5.9.
That's pretty good.
So that extra 600,000 he can give away to somebody. Anyway.
Wait. Also, no income tax in Washington State.
Oh, that's
Washington
a good point.
State. That's true. Versus
so he broke it. He broke it. Yeah.
Versus Denver, versus Colorado, where there is income tax.
Dan, here's what I would say.
Those states have legalized marijuana, by the way. Just saying.
As much as I like Sorokin, I still think I would sign him to a bridge. I don't think I would give him the long.
I think he's going to get a bridge. I think he's going to get a 2-year deal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Holy
That's
hell.
what I would do right now.
Yep.
I could not do a 6-year deal out of the gate like this.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
It is today. If Seattle does not
No.
sign, no. What do you mean no?
God,
What do you mean no?
3 significant free agent signings.
What, we're gonna wait until September for them to sign? Give me a break.
No, but that's fine. Give X right.
I really
come
like
on.
that Brock McGinn sign to Pittsburgh. I feel like you know how guys go there and just
Oh yeah, no, that's
he's
good.
probably going to score 55 points there now. Guys just go there and get better.
If you're Grubauer, what did you just do? Think about this too. Like
You filled your coffers. That's what his goal was.
he filled his coffers, but man, oh man, what have you
That's
done?
what his
Like
goal was.
Yeah, but it's not like the Avalanche can get out of the second
I feel like
round
I feel like
anyway.
the Taylor Swift "Look What You Made Me Do" song is playing in the background in Grubauer's mind right now. Like what the hell that just happened? Like he went away from a team that could win the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row, perhaps.
Yeah,
like
they haven't gotten out of the second round yet, Eck.
no,
Sure.
but that's all true. But Makar, we know what he's just becoming what he's about to become, and you know.
I mean, it's not like it's Maple Leafs bad there, but
This
still,
was
there's
his
pressure.
one chance. This was
No,
Grubauer's
I mean,
best
we can't even put it. The Leafs are in a different world. They should be relegated. But
No,
let's
but
just.
Heck, this is what it is. This was Grubauer's best season. This is his one chance at a big contract, and he grabbed it. That's what he
Straight
did.
catch. Yeah, you're right.
This is
You're right.
nuts. Wow, what a day. This can I just say right now, and I said it earlier today. I'm gonna say this right now. This is the best NHL offseason we've ever had.
It's really good.
I mean, it's not even close. Like there's no offseason that can compare
I'm
to
not
this.
talking about
We've had
quality
things
of deals, but if you want quantity, we got quantity.
I mean, just think about the trades that have happened. Like, the Fleury thing yesterday. That's nuts in and of itself. The Oliver Ekman.
Well, what do you got, Mike? What do you got, Mike?
No, but what we just talked about. Elliott Friedman says believe Washington has interest in reacquiring Vitek Vanacek if the Kraken so desired.
Yeah, see, so that's how that's going.
Yeah.
All right, I am not an analytics guy, but I want to know this about the one thing I don't know about Grubauer is this. You know, I'm a big fan of there's certain goalies for certain teams, certain things. Grubauer's played basically for two teams that are pretty good defensively in Washington and Colorado.
Okay.
Is he the kind of goalie that can, you know, when you go, like, the thing that was great about Fleury is a goalie like Luongo that just like thrives on 40 shots and 50 shots a game. Like they just
Grubauer likes a lot of shots and he's very athletic, so I think he won't have a problem.
Okay, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, he's like that.
Okay, well there you go. Because that's.
If you think about it, he's played for 3 different teams already. So,
right.
Yeah, there's a little bit of debate still, according to my text, that might not be a 6-year deal. It might be 5, but we'll see. That's it.
Pete's right. The Avs may have
not your source from the Devils.
This is not my Devils.
The Avs may have given up 25 shots a game, but that's not what Grubauer's been facing his whole career.
My Devils source is a great guy. Just made him
I'm not saying he's not great. He
great. Everybody makes mistakes. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on here.
He's just not great with decimal points.
No,
Is it NJ? Is it the mascot NJ?
No. Can we change the subject?
He's just
walk right into this one.
I did not.
You opened it up for the floor.
I mean, I walk into a lot of things, but I did not walk into this one.
But what are we thinking now? As I'm jumping back in here, obviously with Grubauer going to Seattle, what are we thinking?
Well, here's the scenario that I think is going to play out. I think that this very well could mean that the reason we haven't heard Jaden Schwartz signing yet is that Jaden Schwartz now will sign with Colorado and not Seattle, because I think the numbers were similar. I heard, but Colorado would go higher if they didn't have to sign Grubauer. And Jaden Schwartz obviously would rather play in Colorado than Seattle.
Colorado needs a goalie. They don't currently have a starting goalie.
I
believe that's where I think they have to trade for Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, they have the assets, so there's
really no other option for them.
For Ullmark, Mike, do you think? Or Ullmark isn't official yet, right?
Ullmark would be risky as hell, man. That would be risky. You don't want to go with a rookie goalie in that situation.
Say, just to make because I'm going to leave in 5 minutes. Sorry. But let's just say this, Ek. So if Colorado does trade for Kepner, which I do feel like I got to go.
I'm just kidding. You're fine.
I felt like they were probably going to trade for Kepner all along. If they do that, then Edmonton is really just going with the goalies they have. That's it.
Yes. And at that point, I will denounce all the good things I've ever said about Edmonton.
Okay.
And they'll be out in the first round again.
Yeah. And by me saying that, they will probably win the Stanley Cup. So Edmonton fans can be happy about this because
now
You just can't be serious about you. That's all right.
We haven't mentioned Bobby Ryan yet.
I think he's coming back. I think Detroit's can bring him back. That's what I heard.
Okay, but we just have to mention him. It's always.
I love Bobby Ryan. My hometown guy.
Have we heard anything about Tyler Bertuzzi?
Nothing.
Good question.
He's in our. Well,
I know he's an RFA, but there's been some rumors that teams have inquired.
Kevin is indicating. Oh, Jake McCabe signing with Chicago.
The Kings are getting Phillip Danault. There we go. I just texted that.
That's a good signing.
And hearts are breaking all over LaBelle.
Yep. Maybe I broke that. I don't know if I did, but it comes from an LA source.
We heard this the other day. We heard Danault too. I think yesterday we talked about Danault with the Kings. That's good because they have a bunch of young centers and they do need one. Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That's a very good sign.
Mike hasn't mentioned Nazem Kadri yet today. Just to complete everything.
I think he should be traded.
He will not be traded.
Disgrace.
That it was a bad trade a long time ago, Mike, and it's not going to happen.
What's that?
You want him to be traded because that will finally exonerate.
No, I'm the Colorado Avalanche. I don't want that guy who was, again, a selfish bastard in the playoffs and got suspended for doing something stupid. I wouldn't want him on my team anymore. He's got 1 year left at 4.5. You have a number 2 center in waiting in Alex Newhook. You have a number 3 in Comfer. I would clear the space and get rid of him.
See, Corinne said in the chat room, Tabernacle. I saw that.
So did we get the cap hit? So the cap hit on Danault is 5.5 AAV.
How many years?
6 years.
Boy.
Oof.
6 years.
Wow, that's a lot for him.
I don't blame
you know what? You know what? That's kind of similar to Pajot's deal.
Yeah,
we talked about that, but I like Pajot better because he's faster
and he's better offensively.
And he is better offensively. Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to.
Could it be possible that Danault is moved as part of the Eichel trade?
No.
Don't think so.
No.
The Danault could be moved as part of the Eichel trade.
LA to trade for Eichel?
That LA, if they were to move them,
I think that what that is they may trade one of the young centers.
That's Byfield or Turcotte.
And considering LA has just literally put out a tweet from their account with "Welcome to Los Angeles, Phillip Danault."
Okay.
So all right. The things, but I think if you're Trump, I think if they had an idea that they were going to flip him,
that's their.
I don't think they would have rolled out especially on a contract of this size.
That's their version of putting the Kraken jersey on Mark.
All right, so I want to just
he'll be able to go to In-N-Out Burger unnoticed. Can
I mention? I very rarely respond to trolls on Twitter, but this person I really want to know if I can respond this way. Ready? All right.
Was it me?
He says to me, I put out Danault to the Kings. I didn't put an E5 on it. I thought I might have been first, but I didn't know. I got a text from somebody at the Kings, and then so the person says to me, "Wow, you didn't even beat the team's Twitter account on this big scoop." Okay, so to which I have to say, the team should beat me on this.
Right.
The team signed Danault.
Right.
I shouldn't be able to beat the team on a scoop.
Right.
They knew about it an hour ago, probably. But
yeah. So in general, I want to say that I'm not really upset about not knowing that the Kings signed Danault before the Kings knew.
We have Jaden Schwartz, according to Ryan Clark, the beat writer from The Athletic. Jaden Schwartz has signed with the Kraken at 5 years and $5.5 million AAV.
Mike, you lose.
No, hey, that's
so Schwartz is going to go to. So Schwartz is going. So they have both Schwartz and Grubauer now.
Although I did feel like he was just going back to Colorado, but you did say
no. I said it was.
Believe me, as
Colorado.
Somebody who covers the Leafs, I'm used to losing.
All this is something that the people in the Western Conference should be happy about because Colorado not getting Schwartz, not getting Grubauer.
And the Kraken have just made it official themselves on their Twitter feed. Same with term and all particulars.
Jake McCabe, 4 years.
Schwartzy, by the way, at the beginning at the top, they got raised hands that say Schwartzy, and then announcing the assign. And then
Jake McCabe, 4 years, $16 million.
That's too much for Jake McCabe.
Wow,
that is way too much for Jake.
Coming off an ACL injury too.
How about this? This is something else. All right, so
that's
now
Connor Murphy money.
So now it really does come down to what Colorado is going to do in net. I mean, they have. I mean, I like what's his name, but they're backup.
Oh, Pavel Francouz, yeah.
I really like him a lot, but he's
not a starter.
He's probably not a starter. Okay,
No.
so but I do think he's. There's something about the guy I just like. I don't know what it is, but I do like.
No,
him.
I get it, but they're going to trade for Kepner now. I don't think they have a choice.
There's just something about him.
No, there is. I mean, Mike, I just know when you watch him play, he's a fun goalie to watch. He is. He shows like he's got serious. I don't know.
I mean, the only other thing they could do is outbid Buffalo for Omar.
Yeah,
he has a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yes.
Yeah, certain je ne sais quoi.
Anyhow,
there's an air about him. I like his aura.
Thanks for deserting us.
Oh my God! All right, so now, are we concerned at all? I mean, I guess Boston's going with their young goalies, right? That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and they'll sign Rask when he's probably close to being back to health. Nick Bonino signs a 2-year deal with San Jose, little over $2 million per.
He's like, he is definitely the epitome of the journeyman at this point. You know, like Rick Bonino is like, he brings a certain something to your team, but he's really good if you're in a playoff run and he's on your third line. But beyond
back in the
that,
day when he was a kid, he was my paper boy.
Nick Bonino was your paper boy.
When I lived in Newington, Connecticut, yeah.
Wow, who would have known? That's crazy.
Yep, good kid.
Chris Drury being your paper boy.
So what do we think they're going to do?
Baseball against Chris Drury.
I gotta make a call here.
He was in the Little League World Series. Did you know that?
I know. That was the year they embarrassed our team.
Okay, so I have to say I think the Danault contract is a massive overpay.
But again, if you're LA and trying to get him to come, that again, where they're at as a team, that becomes difficult. So
after being deserted by Russ Cohen, we welcome Bill Meltzer to the show.
I'm deserting as
I've been dying to talk to you, Bill. I wanted to call you, Bill, and actually talk to you about the Flyers. But I thought it'd be more fun if we did it here.
Yeah, but Dan, go ahead. Wait, Dan had something to say. Go ahead, Dan.
I actually have to desert it as well, but if something big pops up, I'll try and get back on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so here's my thing, Bill. Bill and I have like a similar. We grew up about the same time. When we talk, we have the same kind of memories of like bizarre, obscure Flyers moments. And I think the same sort of vibe about the team. And what I wanted to talk to you about was the aspect of that I finally, even whatever the Flyers have done, I feel like I finally went back to a time when I had Ed Snyder as the owner of the Flyers. This feels like an Ed Snyder offseason. In all the good things that come with that, and I know all the bad things come with that too. But it feels more comfortable to me as a Flyers fan.
Yeah, it actually, from a Philadelphia perspective, it actually feels pretty nice to hear the Flyers mention tied to various players and, and being active. I understand that the focus for a number of years there was rebuilding the farm system, and I get that.
Yeah.
Right. But, I think that especially after this last season and uncertainty moving forward, such as Sean Couturier, only signed through this season.
Yeah.
And you want to convince him to stay, and that there's a commitment to winning here. I mean, there's a lot at play. This is a critical off season. So, will everything work out? I mean, it's not typical that everything works out. There are some risks here.
Yeah.
But if you look at the moves, I like most of them.
Yeah.
So if you look, particularly I like the look of the blue line now.
Yeah.
From 1 through 6. You have to view it as a whole group too.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you get, there's a tendency to get bogged down in one individual piece, but really, particularly on a blue line, it's really about the group of 1 to 6 and how you're slotting the lines. To me, if there's one most critical thing going into the season, it's a healthy Ryan Ellis. If Ellis is healthy and he's in the lineup most of the season, then I think the Flyers will be greatly improved. Now, if you have a situation where he's out, 25 games or whatever the case might be, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's a game. He's a game changer. I agree with you, and I think that he is the biggest game changer that they got. Now, I think I have not been the biggest Fletcher fan, as I think we've talked about. I just haven't been but I was super impressed with this the way he handled this because there was a definite feeling in that building last year that was unlike anything I had ever felt before. The apathy that the Flyers I remember the most apathetic moment for me in Flyers history before that was when the year that they traded away Forsberg to Nashville. That season was hard. That was the season they ended up getting JVR, they everything in the draft. But this season was worse than that, and because this team felt better way better than they were, and you could see that Konechny just wasn't working out right. Frost comes in, looks great, gets hurt. The first month of the season, the Flyers, when you watch them on the ice, the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, you're like, this there's something here. This is potential. This team's got something going, and then they just drop, and then COVID, all this stuff happens, and all those excuses, which I think they've overused. But I do feel that there is a definite sense that I think moving Voracek out and maybe getting Giroux without Voracek for a while is not a bad thing. Just from do you know what I mean by that at all?
Yeah, I do, and it's not a coincidence that the first group of players the Flyers brought in this offseason, Ellis, Atkinson, Ristolainen, they've all been alternate captains in the NHL.
Yeah.
It's part of remaking the leadership group.
Yeah.
They're all similarly highly competitive players.
Yeah.
And Atkinson, the Flyers needed help on the penalty kill. Well, they got one of the best penalty killers in the NHL, and also, although I don't think he'll ever have a 40-goal season again or close, he can still get you 20 goals a year and help out considerably on the PK. So that's that's a significant move in and of itself because they kind of killed two birds with one stone there.
They did. They
saved cap. So.
Yeah, and a Flyer-like player, Cam Atkinson. I mean, definitely a flyer.
For sure.
And the kind of player we haven't seen in a very long time. And this team has been lacking that.
Bill,
I think one more thought, and then take over, Mike. I am actually. I know the Bernier. The Devils way overpaid for him. I can't even imagine the Flyers should have gone. And I'm actually talking to people in San Jose last night about the Jones possibility. I like it. I actually think that Jones. I'm willing to see where this goes.
Well, there's a previous relationship with Kim Dillabaugh, who was his development coach with LA early in his career. When San Jose was a good team and a contender, Jones was a workhorse for them for a few years there, and he had success. Sometimes it's hard to unpack when a team struggles and you have a goalie's goals against average soars. How much of it is the team in front of him?
Yeah.
How much of it is his own play, and how much of it is a combination of the two? As a guy who's been a goalie yourself, that one will either pick up the other or drag it down with it.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And that's really what happened with Carter Hart and the team this year too.
Yeah.
As far as early problems are really much more about the team D than the goaltending, and then the goaltending started to struggle on top of it.
Yeah.
So there was no margin for error, and neither one ever significantly improved.
Yep.
Maybe if the Flyers are significantly improved defensively, and they need to be, they have to at least, that is the number one key to this offseason. To go from 31st in goals against to no worse than middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And
Bill, I got to ask. In terms of Jones, do you view Jones almost as, to borrow baseball parlance, he's going to be an innings eater? That's how they're going to look at him for right now, because he does have, he's done plenty of starts for San Jose. As you said, he has been a workhorse. So if you get solid work out of him, the signing is certainly worth what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the target there is 30 to 35 starts. So he can handle that workload because he's been a guy who's been a 60-something game goalie before. Yeah. So he can do that as long as he keeps you in games the majority of nights. Then he's fine for that role. He's not supposed to be your 1A. So.
Yeah.
There was a lot of criticism about the Ristolainen deal. I think from some people it was the fact that they thought that the Flyers gave up too much, and then from the analytics nerd crowd, that was basically he's their, he's like the guy with 666 on his forehead. They seem to despise him. I've seen him for years in Buffalo. I've always thought that he was a victim of a terrible team that overplayed him, and if he's playing in a controlled situation on a second pairing with 20 minutes a night, that he'll be really good. And I think this was a good trade. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. And I spoke with somebody right after the draft, and I was told that there were 7 teams that were in on that, because it was non-negotiable from the Sabres. If you were interested in trading for Ristolainen, there had to be a first-round pick in the trade.
Right.
So, and 7 teams, including Philadelphia, obviously, were in on that. So, this is where you sometimes have the divide between scouts and the analytics community, and you get particularly the more vehement analytics people.
Yeah.
Who go, this guy's not even an NHL player, and then look, and I've said this a couple of times already, but I'll repeat myself here again. You find me a 6'4", 220-pound defenseman who can skate like a little guy, that has given you 40-point seasons 4 straight years, and oh, by the way, is top 3 in hits among NHL defensemen over the last 5 years, and also this past season when he had a severe bout of COVID. So no matter what his analytics are, the guy's an NHL defenseman. So that aside,
makes me crazy with the with all the courses and everything like that, because hockey is a team sport. It just is. Like
exactly.
you can't get by that. You cannot isolate one player on the ice and get statistics out of it like that.
Exactly. And to Mike's point, he's never been in an environment where I said Ellis and Provorov are definitely above him in the pecking order, and he's kind of parallel with Sanheim probably about where he is depth wise. So you have Provorov and Ellis doing the heavy lifting and the heaviest lifting, at least in the majority of games. There might be some games where it works out a little differently. Like there were some nights where Sanheim and Myers in 1920 were we're actually getting like Ovechkin's line sometimes. But I think in the majority of nights, that top pair is going to do the heavy lifting. So there's not as much pressure on Ristolainen. I think Mike also hit it on the head that take him near the top of the draft, and as a teenager, you throw him into some of the toughest minutes anywhere in the NHL. I mean, how many teenage players are ready to go up against Crosby or Bergeron's line? Right. And you change coaches 5 times. You give him a revolving door of partners, and are you really surprised he struggles? And the last thing I'll say to that also is we all know what Rasmus Dahlin's talent level is, and I think he is going to be a number 1 defenseman, but he looked like a deer in the headlights this year because of the same factors.
Until Don Granato took over as coach, because Ralph Kruger was a freaking disaster in Buffalo, and Granato had an idea of what to do with Dahlin, and Dahlin was allowed to jump into the offensive play and play that way, and he played much better after the change. But to your point, Ristolainen from the age of 19 was playing matchup pairing against top lines, penalty killing, and sometimes power play. It was ridiculous. And I don't think he's ruined. He's only 26 years old. He's got a lot of skill. He's mean and tough, and that fits perfectly with the Flyers. I think it was a great trade for them.
Bill, Bill, what do you think the Flyers' approach will be with Rasmus in terms of, there are obviously some bad habits that he has developed, in the early part of his career. So if you're putting him in top 4 minutes, if you're playing him, say, with Travis Sanheim, if you're the coach, sort of what are you emphasizing with him if he's working with, let's say, a Sanheim?
I think the biggest thing is keep it simple. In the offensive zone, because, he's actually a pretty good offensive defenseman. Again, he's had at one point he had 4 straight 40-point seasons by the age of 24.
Right. So
he can contribute up ice too. But the biggest thing for him is keeping it simple. One of the things that I've noticed over the years in watching Ristolainen is that he'll lose his head sometimes. He'll start running around. He'll start trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Don't try to make the 25-foot pass when the 10-foot pass will do. Yeah. I think that I just think playing within structure is a big thing with him. And if he does that, and AV is very big on structure, and the structure just broke down to an unbelievable degree last year.
It was incredible.
If they can reinstitute that structure, everybody's buying in. I think he'll do fine.
I mean, can they do that though? I mean, the question, you have to look at the coaching at some point, and it's like, they've done a lot here, and I think what they've done here is the pressure does shift back a little bit to the coaches now, because you've definitely changed the players, right? As the old saying goes, you've changed the players. And, and I was talking about Nate Thompson in a second too, but do you have the faith that this coaching staff can pull that off?
Well, I look at what they did from the year before they came in to what they did their first season, because the Flyers' numbers in 2018-19 were eerily similar to this past year. They were about 26th in goals against average. They were about 27th on PK. Scoring is okay. I know a lot of people focus a lot on scoring. You need more scoring. They were okay. They were kind of middle of the pack in scoring. In 1920, the Flyers were 7th both in goals against average and in goals per game. I mean, that's going to be a playoff team 100 times out of 100 if you're in the top third in the league in both.
Right.
They were the stingiest team in terms of shots allowed, fewest shots allowed in the league.
Right.
They were in the top 10 in the PK until a little bit of a late struggle, so they finished 11th. But still a solid top half team in the PK. That was all in that year one.
Yeah.
So you have, if you're going to blame the coaches for last year, you got to give them their share of credit for the year before.
Right.
But you got to get the buy-in again, and they've changed the leadership group other than the captaincy. So that's
to me more than anything. Yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, to me more than anything, again, when you swap, when you have as strong a voice in the room as Jake Voracek is, and you swap him out with Cam Atkinson, and you have all these. Again, it's a chemistry experiment. We know that this is a massive chemistry experiment with a lot of different parts that are in place here. How an Atkinson and how he, not just how he plays, but also how he grafts himself into that room with the established people who are there, with the Giroux, with the Couturier, and how that all will jive with one another.
No, absolutely. And as much as the defense score has been changed, now Atkinson in and Voracek out is a big change in the forward chemistry. But really, that's the only change they've made up front to this point, just because there's only so many things you can do cap-wise.
Right.
So a bounce back year from Konechny, a healthy and progressive year for Morgan Frost if he makes the team, which I think is a pretty good shot of doing.
Yeah.
I think that those are all going to be keys this season. But you got to find out what clicks. That's for sure.
I mean, I heard Frost had a really good shot at being in the top 12. Although when they traded for Nate Thompson today, Russ said that he thought that would knock Frost out. I think Thompson could be looked more as like an extra forward.
Yeah, 12 to 13. They don't play the same role at all.
Yeah,
Frost is a power play guy, a point getter.
Yeah,
I mean, Nate Thompson is a face-off specialist / penalty killer. They wouldn't play the same minutes.
I mean, I think the combination of the three, the Konechny, Farabee, Frost trio is very impressive. They have some other young kids that are coming up too. Is there any chance of any of those guys making an impact this year at the forward position? Or are we looking more at the Phantoms for those guys?
I think Wade Allison sticks at the NHL level.
He was very impressive last year.
He sure was, and that's
actually a lot like Cam Atkinson. I would say it's similar to that Cam Atkinson type player, honestly.
Yeah, they have a lot of that same, like guts and
energy players.
Energy players who can also score goals.
That was noticeable. I mean, that's how down they were as a team. That Allison's play was that noticeable.
He was a huge breath of fresh air. I mean, like he came in and it's funny because he came in sort of the same time that Cam York came in, and York was good, but Allison was more memorable. Like it was just like it was interesting. And about York, what are their plans with him? Do you think?
So before the draft started, because we did a live podcast, and we were getting set up for it, and we had the opportunity to talk to some of the Flyers people, and we were talking about. First, it was largely about the revamped defense, and we were talking about the top 6 group. And it was either Jason Martinez or I made the comment. I guess we're set now. And I got a vibe, although nobody came right out and said it, that they were not entirely comfortable with putting York directly into the NHL.
Yeah, that
he might need a little time in the American League. Or half a season, a few months, maybe 1 year, but they wanted to let him break the door down and not just give him a spot. And if he struggles, because it's much easier to come up from the NHL for a young player, come up to the NHL from a young player, than to come up and struggle and go back and try to work your way back again. That feels like a failure. So
yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah. So I think that's where they're at.
Elliott Friedman just posted a couple minutes ago that the Bruins are in pursuit of Eric Haula, which, when you consider that they lost Corrali in free agency to Columbus, would probably be a Corrali replacement.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's exactly fit.
Now, again, I hate to pour water on all the speculation, but I don't know. I'm going to be really shocked if an Eichel deal happens, not only today but in the next few days. One of the things I said was, if an Eichel deal doesn't happen by the first week of August, he's going to be in Buffalo for this year, because all teams will have spent all their cap space or their budget on the space that they were going to leave open for a potential of an Eichel deal. And unless, and I know Buffalo doesn't want to take significant salary back. They have to get to the cap floor, obviously, but they don't want to take like moneyed long-term players. Maybe they'll take one, but I don't think they'll take two or three to make an Eichel deal possible. So I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
And I think also that at the price point for that player, I think teams are going to want a little certainty in the medicals. Yeah. I don't think, and that just still isn't there. So I don't. I think they're going to have a hard time moving him. I do. I agree with you.
Yeah. Now we still haven't seen any confirmation on some of. We still haven't seen a confirmation on Dougie Hamilton.
No, they've been teasing the Devils on their Twitter feed, saying, "Hey guys, what should we have for lunch?"
Yeah.
Cheeky as they may be. So they're obviously warmly hinting. Yeah, exactly.
Ham sandwich.
Everybody takes the bait. And then Parise still not yet, to the Islanders, is still not yet official. And that was, I know New Jersey supposedly was in the picture as well.
He was too busy signing up with AARP. Sorry.
The Palmieri, is that official?
No.
To the Islanders, that's the other one I was looking at. The Islanders, this is Lou. This is so Lou. All right, we've seen this before. We've been in this situation before with Lou Lamoriello, right, where he doesn't announce things until he wants to, and then and he doesn't let anybody talk about it. But obviously, the fact that Palmieri has not come up in one rumor to one other team the entire offseason means that it's it's done. But this means that Lou is working on something. This is what he does when he has a trade, and he doesn't want people to know how much cap space he has. This is a typical Lou thing. He doesn't want you to know how much cap space he has. So he won't. So even though these guys are signed, he doesn't want you to know how much they're signed for. Oh, Thomas Nosek has signed with the Bruins. There's the 2 years.
Wait, let me get this straight then. So they signed Nosek, and now they're going after Haula. The Bruins are looking to put a Vegas unit together, basically.
Looks like it, right? Eric Haula signed with the Bruins too. Both are signed with the Bruins. There you go.
There you go.
Wow.
Everybody wanted to try to reassemble the Tampa Bay Lightning checking line. Look at this.
Yeah, Nosek and Haula signed with the Bruins. I told you they were up to something, because they knew they were going to spend that cap space. I kept hearing they were going to spend that cap space. Very interesting.
So additional information, I think the report is out also that Adam Clendenning has signed a 2-way contract with the Flyers. Colby Cohen adding some additional information, saying in response to Anthony Sanfilippo saying hasn't played in the NHL since 2019, will offer a veteran presence. Colby responded, I think there's actually more upside. I'm familiar with Adam's game, and he has strung together more productive stretchers than Prosser in the NHL, in my opinion, but a fair comparison.
Chris Johnston reporting Alex Edler to the LA Kings. Now, he played his entire career with the Canucks. Yeah. The Canucks were not going to bring him back, especially at the amount that he was probably looking for.
And certainly not after they've got OEL in there.
And the King, right, exactly. And the Kings, other than Doughty and Oli Mata, and I think Walker, their defense is really not good. So, Edler's second pairing, maybe even third pairing, that's not a bad side. It depends on what they spent on him. We'll see that in a few minutes. But Not a bad deal. Not at least yet.
Bill, also wanted to ask you about. I haven't had a chance to speak with you about the new assistant coach for the Flyers, Darryl Williams. I know he's had long-standing relationship and several stops with Elaine. Seems like a lot of these things that have happened this offseason, as Eck has stated before, is about, sort of, okay, we're giving you the goods. We're giving you the groceries. Now you got to make the meal. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what role Williams will play in this regard.
Well, he'll take with Ian LaPerriere being moved up to Lehigh Valley head coach. Williams will step in and play the role that Lappy played. A lot of experience at different levels. Well respected hockey guy. I think the two biggest things for any assistant coach, because they're not going to affect a win-loss record, but the two important things with an assistant coach is trust from the head coach and a guy who communicates well with players, and he checks both of them.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Got something there?
Yeah, we might hear something on Foligno very soon. And again, it's still leaning towards Minnesota. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I was told that if the Leafs lost Hyman and that was clear they were going to lose him last week, that they would put the full court press on signing Foligno. Now it's a question. If he wants to play with his brother that bad, and Minnesota is willing to pay him what Toronto was going to pay him, then
that's that. It's a totally different vibe playing in Minnesota and playing for Toronto. No, he grew up a Leafs fan, so it's what he wants to do there. What do we think? From all indications, also, I was also texting somebody about Chara, because with Boston, I'd heard Boston might be interested in bringing Chara back. This is definitely another. This is a lot of money that came out in this situation.
Well, I don't know whether Chara is going to be saying, I'm going to go back to Boston at $750 and just take a veteran minimum. But right now, they've got McAvoy, Carlo, Grzelcyk, Forbert, Riley. They've signed 2 defensemen to $3 million.
It gets tough to find ice time at that point.
Clifton.
Yeah.
And then you've got Vakanainen, who's a former first round.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have room, Mac. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Chara apparently, he's just deciding whether or not he wants to play, but apparently is in great shape. His agent Matt Cater talked to him. Yeah, I mean, Chara is ridiculous, right? So, I mean, he was a big player for the Capitals last year. I mean, he actually was an impactful player, way more impactful, I think, than anybody expected. I mean, where could he go?
It also at the same time, I hate to say this, also speaks to the concerns of the Capitals defensive depth. Well, 40-odd-year-old defenseman, it plays that important of a role for you.
Yeah.
If you remember before he signed with Washington, the team that was rumored to be interested in him was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's right.
Pittsburgh, CC has left. They have numbers, but if he comes in at an inexpensive amount, then I think that's possible.
Yeah. No. One last thing with Bill on the Flyers, I do want to ask you too. With the bottom six now, with the sixth, not the bottom six, the six. I'm sorry, the top 6D. In my mind. Sorry, talking for 3 hours here. The top 6D are what? What do you think the pairings are going to be?
Provorov, Ellis, Sanheim, Ristolainen, and Yandel with Braun, and Sam Morin as the number 7.
Okay. So you think they're going to they'll have him as 7? I was curious about that. I mean, Yandel. I thought Yandel was a good pickup too. I think he's a really sneaky pickup for what they paid. I mean, they really got him for nothing. He brought a lot to Florida. I could see that some of the issues that Quenneville had though are some similar issues to what Alain Vigneault would have maybe as in specific spots.
Of course, he had Yandel before. I mean, it was a better, younger version of Yandel.
Yeah.
But he had him before with the Rangers, so at least they're well familiar with each other.
If he slips, I think in that circumstance, there's concern. That's where you might see York step into the breach, but he'll have at least time in the A first.
Yeah. Right. And I think
before he would have to play. So I don't think there's a high risk factor in this case of having Yandel as that buffer. And if he gives you production, all the better.
I mean, definitely with Ellis, Yandel, and Atkinson, 3 very positive personalities. Like Yandel, and 3 players that are absolutely loved on every team they've ever played on.
Yep.
You know, that's the other thing that, you know, Yandel. Yeah, I talked to, you know, Florida, you know, people down there, they couldn't say enough nice things about Yandel.
Positive personalities until they get a couple brushes with the Philadelphia media, then they'll be negative, right?
Nah, Bill's the Philadelphia media. Bill and Anthony, you guys would be nice.
Why do you think I said it, Ak?
You guys would be nice to them. We got 2 of the big ones here, so hey. Yeah, so it's great stuff. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for jumping on. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. If there's anything major, which I don't expect, I'll jump back in, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, bud.
Guys, I'll be back. Martin, they're doing the Martin Jones presser right now. So
yeah, I was thinking maybe we could cut it off because I think we're doing pretty good right now. I think we've been on for 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 24 seconds. So I thought we could do a 3-hour show here. We want to thank everybody so much for watching today. Remember, you can go to patreon.com/hockey and support the show. That money goes directly to the hosts, and we really appreciate it if you can do that. It would really, really help out a lot. Thanks for the patience with the traffic today. When I was getting notes that we were getting 3 times the traffic we've ever gotten on this day, which is astonishing. So we really appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow, I guess, right? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Unless something breaks
unless something big happens with Eichel or something like that. But I think tomorrow will be fun. We have to go through a lot to go through. And you know, we're all gonna have to reboot our RAM before we can do that. Remember, without the buzz, folks, it is just hockey. We will talk to you tomorrow.